What's up? What's going on, good people? Welcome. Welcome back. Welcome back. I almost didn't go on the air today, so I just had to wing it. Had to wing it and make it happen. Let's get this thing going. Let's get ready to go. Let me locate the intro. All right, let's get it.
Peace, folks. This is X from TPOT Media. Open your mind and wake your black ass up. You know what time it is. Hit that damn like button as you make your way in the door. Grab a seat, settle in, get ready. It's the Grown Man Hour with your host, my man, Bernard Riley.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Mumia Obsidian Ali. You know who I am. I need no introduction, right? And you're listening to the Grown Man Hour with my man Bernard Riley, heard weekdays right here on YouTube. What do you think about that? How about that? Now let's get back on with the show. Thank you.
What's up and what's going on, good people? Appreciate everybody being in the building. Damn it, I had things set up better. Why I touched that light? Why did I touch that light? But we right off the back, Houdini asked a good question. He said, is it really freestyle, open topic, or are there any subjects that are not up for discussion? Try me. Try me. This is like exhibit A of why I'm failing. Exhibit A of why I'm failing to try to stay out of the manosphere politics. And then you do a show like this, and then what people want to throw at you, a bunch of manosphere nonsense, and then now we got to end up talking about it. So this is why I'm failing. It's really hard. It's really hard to keep your nose clean in this space. It's really hard. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. I got a few things that I'm going to automatically throw out there if nothing gets thrown out there. But I mean, overall, I say try me. I say try me, Houdini. Uneducated lame in the building. And shout out to everybody who made it in bright and early. Uneducated lame said, tricking. It was a period on my show where that was damn near all that got talked about. And as a non-trick, I am a little upset that happened, that I allowed that to happen. No way I should have allowed that to happen. But it's like we turned into the trickers. What is that? Hold on. I shouldn't be turning around because I cut my own hair, and y'all probably seeing how I don't be lining the back of my shit up right there. You probably can't see that. But that's not a good visual in the back. I think they showing, I played an Abbott and Preach clip, and then they went right to some Tommy. We'll do that. Hold on. And they went right to some Tommy Sotomayor, but when they play a Tommy Sotomayor clip, you can't see nothing but his chat roll. scrolling down at the bottom. That's not a good visual in the background. Shout out to Toya. I still got to watch that video that you sent me because I might do some content on that. It was long-winded. So I just was like, I'll get to it when I get to it. But no, thank you for thank you for sending that. Mr. Negative Man says, every time I forget what I want to add. You threw a topic out there. Damn it. It was a good topic you threw out there. It was a while ago. You left it in my comment section that I wish I would have remembered. It probably would have been the topic today, but I was scrambling and I didn't have a topic already together. So when I do that, sometimes, especially on a Friday, I'll just freestyle. Friday, I will be on tomorrow. Me and Hood Conservative will be on doing something tomorrow. Said, what if Bernard just freestyle rapped and beatbox for 3 hours? No. Shout out to Toya. Shout out to Spiffy. Waves on spin. Oh yeah, gotta keep, do rag and Murray's grease. Do rag and Murray's grease, fellas. Stop being Switzerland, Bernard, and join the ruckus. Really, I know I did stop being Switzerland. I had to break that rule. It was it was alluded to on another stream. I had to. I used to. It was a certain faction of people who showed up to my channel on the front lawn with pitchforks and tiki torches, and they was trying to do a hostile takeover of my shit. I was like, so I had to stop being Switzerland. I had to had to block some certain comments and block some certain people and all kind of stuff. Man, it was no, I'm joking but serious, but no, I had to stop being Switzerland because stuff was just getting out of control. I was like, I did a stream one day and I was just doing my normal content that I've been doing for years, and I'm just looking at the chat room and it just looked like it looked like a mutiny in the chat room. Like it literally looked like that. And for those who don't know what a mutiny is, let me make sure I'm using the right word. Because doing this YouTube thing, I found out that I be saying stuff and I think I know what it means, and I Google it and I'm like, I had that about half right. An open rebellion against the proper authorities, especially by soldiers or sailors against their officers. Yeah. If you let your chat room get just overran with too many people who are against what you're saying, to just start looking like a mutiny. And people don't subscribe to that kind of stuff. People new watching your channel, they see that shit, they don't subscribe. They just keep it pushing. They like, this is crazy over here. I don't know what's going on. So, I had to clean. I had to clean some things up. But thank you again, Toya. Said waves spinning. You throwing me right into that mess. You said, I wonder if Obsidian kept saying hit Angry Man channel was a copyright flag. Let me say this about that. Not the Obsidian Kevin Samuels part of it, because that's a whole nother shit storm. You can't make an accusation on that. I listened to some of Angry Man's video, and it sounds like, depending on how it go, he may be able to find out who did it. I hope he does, and I hope they get prosecuted to the full extent of the law. I hope he can adequately sue them, like what he was talking about. I hope everything happens and plays out just like that. I am an attack on one is an attack on all, and that is some BS. And I hope, my biggest hope is that he find out exactly who did it. That is my biggest hope right now as far as that situation. Hope he finds out exactly who did it. That's where I'm at with it. Logan JJ says, Bernard, are you going to share your thoughts, views about the Russia versus Ukraine conflict / war? Not trying to be political. Ain't nothing wrong with the political. Me and Hood Conservative technically do something that's political leaning every Saturday. Pretty much every Saturday, we do something kind of politically leaning. So, but and I got somebody who I'm communicating with through email who wants to do a whole show on that. Because if I do a show on that, I would want to bring in, somebody with some expertise that where we can have a conversation and I can ask him questions and go from there. That's what's potentially coming down the pipeline as far as that. Theo F in the building says people be beating up on you, bro. You should invite them to Detroit for real. What? I'm not from Detroit. You keep saying I'm from Detroit. I'm near Detroit. I don't know who beating up on me. I don't know who beating up on me. So it is what it. I ain't. I don't keep my ear to the streets on all of that. Shout out to Jada LaRue in the building. Uneducated lame says who did what. A couple of stream/videos this week from Mr. Palmer, Dennis Sperlin, and Shay Charday to Mr. Z. That's a subject without a predicate. But thank you for that super chat, Theo Waff. I do appreciate you dropping something on it. Appreciate everybody who filing on in. He said about the Ukraine war. You're saying what happened to Angry Man? Angry Man was on the air. Angry Man was on the air and he was killing it. Well, I shouldn't even say he was killing it because he hadn't even spoken a word yet. He had kind of like stopped the music and said a sentence or two and started back playing music. He was still in this pre warm up and had like 600 people in there. Like he was about to rock the house. Like if you got 600 people in there waiting for you to speak, he probably was about to have 2,000 people on deck. He probably was about to have 2,000 people on deck. Like he was about to have. It's not a far reach to say he was going to have about 2,000 people in there, and just we got taken off the air, and it said some weird stuff like this. It was copyrighted content by Masculine Mercenaries LLC. His shit. So somebody else was claiming to own his stuff, or they claim to own the logo that he can prove that he actually owns. That so that's why I'm saying he got some legal grounds where, depending on how it play out, he's going to be able to either sue. He's going to be able to find out who did it and possibly sue. So yeah, that's what happened. So I think he can't go on his so I think he can't go live on his Angry Man channel for like a week. It's like a 7-day thing. It's like a 7-day thing that he gotta wait. I think he gotta wait 7 days because they either can double down on it within the 7 days, or they can or they could drop it or something like that. So we'll see. But like I said, I hope he's able to find out who did it through he laid out a process and how he could possibly find out who did it and how he could sue. And I hope he gets his man, whoever the hell it is. I hope he gets his man. I hope he wins that, because that's some BS. That is some outright BS. Snuggle668 in the building. He says, can you please grab the link? I would like to know why you got rid of my wrench when I have done nothing wrong. How dare you? Snuggles, you didn't survive the wrench purge. Okay, I got rid of like 250 wrenches and you didn't survive. There's other people who didn't survive it, and there's other people who survived it who may still get it snatched. But Snuggles, I mean, real talk, Snuggles, you'll always hold a special place in my heart. You know that. Look, we got the little special little thing for
Hi, I'm Snuggle. Snuggly softness. That's really less expensive.
You know you'll always hold a special place in my heart, Snuggles, but you ain't got a wrench. All right, let me slow down so I can see what y'all are commenting. Now I know it's Freestyle Friday, but let's not get ignorant. If we're talking about somebody striking down Angry Man's channel or somebody doing what they did to Angry Man is not appropriate to say he acting like a bitter baby mama. He got every right to be as bitter as, you know, whatever he do or say going forward right now is, but I mean, he don't know that it's them. So that's that fact. That's that factor. But we can't listen. Somebody got their channel. Somebody is messing with this man's business. Let's now ain't the time to criticize whatever antics he do that you don't like. Now's the time to pull back and, like, you know. So anyway, Black TV in the building says, drop a Hot 16 freestyle Friday. What up, everyone? No. Real quick. And thank you for that. Thank you for that. Black TV. I will not be freestyling on the air. Y'all will never get me to do that. The best y'all will get is for me to do it by accident. Who are the nominees? The Black Manosphere Award nominations. Beamus. That's the YouTube. That's the link to the video. Drop the link so people can go and vote. That's what I want people to be able to do, to go and vote for it. I want people to be able to go. I finally went on and voted for it. All right, somebody threw a question out there. Joshua Swayer, question, Bernard, is it worth getting married? That's a oddly worded question. Is it worth it? Like, is it worth getting married? The short answer to that question is no. However, if you want to do it for your reasons, you should have good reasons why. It's just simple as that. Do you want to do it? What's your reasons why? If your reasons make sense, I'm not going to argue with you. Are you armed with all the information of what could possibly go wrong? Did you do any preventative check and balances? I know a lot of people do. I had a lead attorney on where he said a properly written out prenup will hold up. That's what the lead attorney said. Other people have argued otherwise. But me being somebody who understands family and not just wanting to be a dude to just knock some chick up, you know, I do have some respect for traditional families. So I get it. Some dudes want families and they just don't want to be a baby daddy. They get married. They do it that way. They do it that traditional way. It's a lot of risk in doing that, but it's even more risk in getting a woman pregnant and not being married to her. So if you want children, you're in a situation. It's a pickle. It's a pickle, because if you want children, you're going to end up in a situation where if the woman is for whatever reason not on board, she got you by the balls. It's for, if she ever go left, she got you by the balls. If she ever flip or switch or do anything stupid, she got you by the balls. But I can't sit here in good, clear, clean conscience say that men shouldn't create families. All right. It goes to the core of what we talk about here. We talk about men growing up being raised by single mothers and how bad of a job statistically. Yes, it's some of them that do, you know. LeBron James turned out just fine. Okay, we get it. All right. Kevin Durant turned out just fine. We get, okay. All right, fine. However, we know and we understand. We know and we understand statistically how they turn out. So if you want to empower black men, I think you need black men raising black boys to be black men. It's difficult to do that on a mass scale unless black men and black women work out their problems and have decent, more sustained, long-lasting relationships, where I will also add where the woman is submissive to the man. Then you have an actual family, a long-lasting family, where black boys are raised in a better situation and they grow up and become better men statistically. And so like that's a macro argument for marriage. That's a macro argument for unions between men and women. On the micro, I can't argue with an individual man said, I'm not stepping into that hornet's nest. I'm going to punch and get out and keep it clean. And I mean, and keep it, keep them at arm's reach, feed them with a long handle spoon, use them for what I need them for. And come hell or high water, try not to get nobody pregnant and just be single for the rest of my life and have no kids. I can't argue with that. I cannot. You'll never hear me argue with that. You'll never hear me argue with that. But I can make a macro argument for marriage, but the micro, the individual man doing what he has to do to protect himself out here. Nah, I can't tell him he's wrong. And it's no right answer. You can't say you can't criticize the Black community being what it is, and the single mamas and baby mama-ism and kids growing up without fathers, but then also say I ain't marrying these hoes. I mean, you can, but if men en masse ain't trying to marry, I mean, the current state of how modern women are, men shouldn't be wanting to marry them. All right, flat out. Flat out, men shouldn't be wanting to marry women in their modern state how they are. And I haven't even spoke about, I indirectly spoke about, but then there's the laws. Then you got to throw the laws into the equation. Throw the laws into the equation and how a lot of modern women operate. Throw all that into the ball of wax, and then yes, that puts a modern man in a position where you got a tough decision to make. But on a macro scale, I still will make an argument. Even if I'm not making an argument for marriage, I'm making an argument for families. I'm making an argument for families. I will always do that. And that puts me in a tough one. It literally puts me in a tough situation. It puts me in a tough situation where it's like there's no right answer. The way things are going right now in the Black community is not the right answer. So if somebody says, yeah, so go wife up these chicks in their current state with the current laws, that's not the right answer either. So it's almost like there needs to be an overall overhauling of a cultural change. And as I always said, a cultural change normally influences a political change, because you need to change the hearts and minds and culture of the people before they would even go in a voting booth and vote to change the laws, however you think the laws need to be, that will ultimately influence the society operating the way you would want it to operate. So it's almost like a stubborn standoff type of situation. So hence the reason MGTOW exists. Snuggle 668 in the building says, surviving Bernard Riley. Wow, don't say that. This is just like Russia versus Ukraine. I'm the African that got stuck because they put Ukrainians first. Wow, Snuggles, really? Hey, I'm like Charles Barkley. He calling them the team from Southern California. He said, well, he's like, I'm not talking about this losing team. This team is losing, and ESPN is duty bound to keep talking about them. TNT got to keep talking about them. He like, they suck. We don't talk. There's no team that's that bad that we talk about that much. With that said, I'm rooting for the Lakers. I want LeBron to get 5 championships. I'm rooting for them, but they sucking right now. They stinking it up. LeBron James is in that place in his career like Kobe was. Kobe's last year before he tore his Achilles. Kobe put up good numbers that year, but he just, for whatever reason, he just wasn't that effective. That happens to great players. They get late into their career, they're still great players. I mean, they're not exactly great players anymore. It just they just know how to play basketball. They know how to put up numbers, but they're not that effective. LeBron putting up great numbers, but it's not manifesting itself into wins. It's just that simple. So Yeah, it is what it is with that. Theo Waff in the building says, "Don't marry in the U.S. Honestly, avoid at all cost." Absolutely, absolutely. I see what you're saying. That is a thing. Shout out to Ike Ogiamian. He went over to his home country of Nigeria and had a ceremonial, traditional, or Nigerian marriage over there. Then he flew back over here. He flew back over here to do his thing. You know, he flew back over here to he married right now, but he didn't get them legally binding documents at the courthouse. He didn't go and sign them legally binding documents at the courthouse. He didn't do that. Not in the U.S. He wasn't married over in Nigeria. Jada LaRue said, "I clicked the link to go vote. I don't know 80% of them names. You know my name, so just vote for me." I just play. I feel like I hate the term, but I do feel like because I shared the link in my chat room and a lot of people running over there that I may have an unfair advantage because not enough people are sharing the link. Okay, Jay Lyon says, "I believe in traditional family structure. The family structure is messed up in the U.S. I say go overseas and more overseas and get married there." Rod of God in the building. Let's see what else. I just want to talk about traditional families and traditional marriages. That's what y'all want to talk about. Really. I'm just gonna pull out the link. Well, no, I'm gonna drop the link of something that show the link of something that's really counter to that. That's what I'm gonna do. Well, not drop the link, I'm gonna screen share something that's counter to that. I was gonna make the show about this, but I didn't have time to make a thumbnail, so I just used the old one. But this website, well, no, this is thehill.com. Changing America. Shared destiny, shared responsibility. This is the doozy right here. Yeah, I should be able to see this. Y'all see that? I was going to make the whole show about that. I mean, and it may, okay, it says gay men may hold the key to closing the academic gender gap, study finds. It's long past time to rewrite the rules of American masculinity. That's what came across my desk. That's what came across my desk. Theo in the building says, Snuggle668, did you sniff some detergent? Russia versus Ukraine? Dude. Shout out to Theo in the building. Appreciate everybody dropping something on the super chat. Indigenous TV says, Bernard with the plum colored shirt. You need gray to complement that shirt, brother. I need gray. No, I don't. I need exactly what I got on. Hell, you talking about? But yeah, it says gay men hold the key to closing the academic gender gap, studies finds. They're not fixing what's wrong at the foundation of education to where and why less men are going to school and more women are going to school. They're not trying to fix anything that's wrong there. They're basically just telling, hey, straight men be like gay men. That's what they're saying. Houdini says, have you read or looked at The Black Male Political Agenda by Dr. Tiasan Johnson? I'm interested if that agenda aligns with men in this space. A lot of it does. It was a while ago when I looked at that. I still haven't. I'm going to try to get Dr. Tiasan Johnson on the show. So bear with me. Be patient. I am going to try to make that happen. But I did read that, and he does have a proper agenda out there, and I like it. I like that he got it out there. I don't, everything that he highlight or that he, looks to is, not necessarily, not necessarily it's not exactly what I would come up with, but I trust, his I trust his wisdom and knowledge to the point to where, I'm like, hey, if he putting it out there and he can push it out there, that's why his last video that he did, not his last video that he did, but if you watch my show from yesterday, I literally put well, I did a response. I broke down and talked about some of the data that he presented out there about intimate partner violence and how is a lot of it is most of it is bidirectional, but the percentage of it that's unidirectional, meaning one person is attacking other person, women do that essentially 2 times more, you know like 60% of the 66% of the time is women doing that versus 33% men. So they engage in more unidirectional relationship violence. And so I did a stream on that yesterday. I shared his link. I do want more people to follow him and see, what he's doing. Here's the link to the article that I'm about to read right here. I never do that. Actually drop the link to the articles that I read. This is separate from Dr. Tiasan Johnson. This is something different right here. This is something different. But no, I definitely like what Dr. Tiasan Johnson is doing. EJ says, talk about the hate on KS and the fighting going around in the Manosphere. And that's why I don't like to do that's why I knew I was going to get in trouble doing the Freestyle Friday show because I said I want to stay out of Manosphere politics. But you do a Freestyle Friday show, open topic, people are going to throw out topics that deal with the beef and the fighting that's going around in the Manosphere. And I've already talked about that and addressed that, and I don't like it. I ain't with it. I don't go for it. I don't I think it's nonsense. I think everybody who's big has a certain amount of haters. What's the most concise thing I could say about that? When it comes to all the hate and the fighting that's going on, yes, the space is tearing itself apart from within. It just is what it is. And that's why, I'll do reaction videos to this person or that person. I guarantee it's not somebody who's even red pill adjacent. It's not even somebody who's Manosphere adjacent. If I'm going to go after somebody, I'll be going after what they call the gynocracy. I'll be going at or responding to or reacting to, criticizing or picking apart. There's all kinds of people who are 100% ideologically different than I am, that I can go at, that I can pick apart. I think a sad thing is happening in this space. If the men in this space, you get more views in this space, going after another man in this space than what you do going after the gynocracy nowadays. Like that's bad. There's no way around that. That is bad. And so, yeah, those are my general thoughts on that. Clarence Jr. in the building says women are turning many men into something they don't even want, just to complain about men being weak in the future. Shaking my head. That is actually a good point, and that's what this article that I'm about to read deals with. But I'm trying to make it down to the bottom of the comments. Trying to make it to the bottom of the comments. All right, I think I made it. All right, Indigenous TV in the building says, Bernard, dudes who say we're hating on Kevin Samuels are just mad because the criticism of him is legitimate. No one is hating on that man. All right, look, cool. Some of it is legitimate. Some of it is some nonsense. But I disagree with being on a war path against another man who, when you break down everything he says, you agree with him on 80% of it. That's the part that I'm not with. I'm not with. I've said it before, and I said this when I was talking to Angry Man. I don't care who said it first. I don't care who said it best. I like that it's being said on a major media platform. Now, can we nitpick what's wrong with this individual or this person who made it to the top, or that person who made it to the top is it's fresh it's fresh kind of embarrassing when he's up there, like, saying some stuff, but they got that humongous platform, but fresh be sounding ridiculous and doing ridiculous stuff sometimes. It's like, yeah, there's no perfect advocates, but overall, I'm not I'm not tripping on small disagreements. I'm not tripping on small disagreements. I don't think every critique is hating, and I don't even like to call people haters. I like to look at whether or not what they said it either has merit or it don't got merit, and that's where I'm at with it. That's where I'm at with it. But I'm going to get into this article. And this may actually be one of those Freestyle Friday shows. I always say the Freestyle Friday shows, we just chopping it up a little bit, and they're going to be shorter shows. And I just want to get in and get out, because when I make it a Freestyle Friday, that's because I was busy and I didn't have a show, game, set, match ready to go. So I just basically just throw one together. No topic, no thumbnail. let's just throw one together. That's how I normally do the Freestyle Friday shows, which is stupid because I should have a show, a more precise show ready to go. But these ones do turn into fun shows sometimes. The last one turned into a classic, but sometimes they be shorter shows where I just come in, chop it up a little bit, talk to y'all on a Friday, and then punch and get out. But we'll see what happens with this one. But I don't anticipate being on long. But I did stumble across this, and I was like, I'll come in and talk about this, and then talk about whatever y'all want to talk about, and we can roll up out of here. But it says changing America. And oh, by the way, nope, not that. It was something. Okay, nope, I'm not even gonna dig. Wait, no, I did. Well, I clicked on that, changing America. I might just go back. You know what? I'm going to go back. I'm going to stay right here. All right. So, changing America. Gay men may hold the key to closing the academic gender gap, study finds. It's long past time to rewrite the rules of American masculinity, which is just a very weird thing to say. As the gender gap in America, in American higher education widens, let me make sure y'all can see that. Oh, and y'all can't. But I put the article in there so a lot of y'all can actually read it if you want to read it. But it says, as the gender gap in American higher education widens to the largest it has ever been, gay men could hold the key to closing it. New research has found roughly 52% of gay men age 25 and older hold a bachelor's degree. Right when I heard that, I already knew it was about at 35% for men across the board. And it goes on to say, published in American Sociological Review, far higher than the national average of 36%. So I was right in what I thought that I knew. It goes on to say the U.S. ranks 9th in the world in college completion, but if America's gay men formed their own country, it would be the world's most highly educated by far. A University of Notre Dame sociologist and the study's author wrote in a recent Washington Post op-ed, gay men are also significantly overrepresented among advanced degree holders in the U.S., Middleman wrote, and compared with straight men, about 50% more likely to have earned MD, JD, or PhD. That is sort of interesting because women, like, they're overrepresented in college, but they're less likely to go get advanced degrees than men. But gay men are represented in terms of college sort of at the same rate as women are. They make similar choices to women when it comes to education, but they're not making similar choices to women because they're actually going for the advanced degrees like men. So it's almost like that competitive masculine man part of their brain kicks in and like, no, we about to go and get some advanced degrees because we're still men. But anyway, but that's a whole nother story. And importantly, Middleton notes that his findings are not limited to white men and gay men. Consistently outpace straight men in college completion regardless of racial or ethnic background. His findings are limited to higher education. His findings aren't limited to higher education either. And gay male high school students are more likely than their heterosexual counterparts to earn better grades in more advanced classes and maintain better study habits. They also reported having more academically oriented friends. Middleton found, Middleman, that's a funny name. Middleman found using data from Department of Education study assessing student and sexual orientation. That is weird at best, but interesting at least. No, this is not educated lame versus no, 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 no. You saying this sounds like educated lame versus Pookie Slick this article. What so what are they saying the educated lames are the gay ones? How would that no. I reject the premise. I reject the premise that this has anything to do with that. It has more to do with boys are socialized different. They behave different. They operate different. Gay men and women, women are socialized different. They operate different. They behave different than boys. Boys behave different than women. We get that, but gay men or boys in this sense who behave more like women make similar life choices as women, and they go to school and they get degrees at similar rates as women. That's interesting, but what's implied here is that they're basically saying straight men, you can close this gap if you just be more like gay men. Go ahead and gay it on up. I mean, they're not saying go and be gay, but they're basically saying they don't want they don't want boys to be boys, or don't want boys to be like boys. They don't want to fix what's potentially wrong or flat out wrong in the educational system that has boys not going to school more, not pursuing further education more. They don't want to fix that. They're just saying be less masculine, be more effeminate, behave more like women. That's essentially what they're saying. Behave more like women, do more like what women do, or do more like what gay men do, because gay men do more like what women do. Interesting. It's likely that success of gay boys and men in the classroom is tied to the fact that they often feel like outsiders to the culture of masculinity enforced by their straight peers. Okay. According to middlemen, which ultimately leads to them to be more conscientious students, something straight men are often taught not to be. I don't know if they're taught not to be. It's like they throw out weird stuff. Masculinity enforced by their straight peers. No, boys are more masculine. They do more masculine things. This boy who's a little more on the feminine side is going to do more feminine things. He's going to do what the girls do. And if you kids who are more likely to be in a social situation where they're more of a recluse anyway, they're probably going to be more likely to put their head in the books. They're probably going to be more likely to head to that college campus where diversity and all those things are more welcome. They're just more likely to go and do that. Using data from roughly 7,000 student surveys, Middleman found that while many straight boys valued time spent playing video games, they're talking about the differences of boys and girls in value times spent playing video games or sports, gay boys reported putting a premium on academic success. As adults, gay men also outperformed women. As adults, gay men also outperform women, likely because they often work exceedingly hard to compensate for not meeting masculine expectations. That actually makes sense, according to Middleman. That work can lead to a measurable boost. Middleman in his research also found that gay women tend to, this is interesting, gay women who are, let's just assume, I don't think we got to assume, but are less feminine and more masculine. It said, okay, Middleman in his research also found that gay women tend to perform more poorly in school, and black gay women have much lower college graduation rate than white gay women. That's consistent with recent research from Utah Women of Leadership Project, which found that women and girls who do not identify as heterosexual are more likely to face, and now they're going to blame the discrimination and isolation can limit their education and earning potentials. But I don't see where gay women are isolated, and I don't see where I just don't see where they're isolated like that. The project found that women and girls who identify as heterosexual. Oh wait, hold on. Oh wait, women and girls who do not identify as heterosexual are more likely to face discrimination and isolation that can limit their education and potential earnings. I don't buy that part of it. They're saying gay women are more likely to face discrimination and isolation that could limit their education and earnings. But they just previously said up there that the men who don't fit the mold of what traditional masculinity is are more likely to find themselves, head in the books. That isolation is what led to them to be more conscientious and more learned, so to speak. But it doesn't apply to women. But when it comes to women, they're going to say, discrimination. Is like, if the being different is a benefit, yay. If being different, it hurts them. The evil, evil discrimination and patriarchy, that's what they're trying to spin on that. I'm almost at the end of this thing. Give me a minute. Still, women overall tend to outperform men in academics, and at the current rate of progress, 2 women will soon earn college degrees for every 1 man. In his op-ed, Middleton argues that it's long past time we rewrite the rules of American masculinity, and as the U.S. struggles to close its gender gap, there are valuable lessons to be learned from gay men. Yeah. That's the argument. That's the argument. What they are essentially saying is, in a roundabout way, we need to somehow get straight men to emulate the habits of gay men. We need to rewrite, redefine, change what is viewed as masculine. Simply for the reason that was just because that's how we're going to close this gap. We're not going to address the problem at the grade school level. We're not going to address why boys' reading level is lower than girls. We're not going to dig into that. We're not going to poke or prod at that. We're not going to really, we're not going to look deep at that. We're just going to tell them, we're going to tell them to be more effeminate, be more feminine, be effeminate. That's basically what they're saying. They're saying we want to close this education gap because these men, remember the previous articles we talked about before, because these men are not economically attractive, economically viable or economically attractive. So we got to close those gaps. We got to close those gaps to produce these economically attractive men. But the way that we're going to close it is we're going to make a bunch of feminine men that the women don't want to be with anyway. Want to turn them into a bunch of pansies that no woman actually wants to be with. But that's what's going to help us close this gap and compete with the rest of the world. A bunch of, bunch of effeminate men. who think like women, walk like women, talk like women. Don't use that word. Don't use that word. Because you know how I say, when it comes to those agendas, when it comes to that propaganda war, everybody else's agenda and propaganda can get out there and inception the hearts and minds of people. But when black men start speaking, when black men start talking about agenda and, you know, putting our ideas out there, when we start talking about that, we get told it ain't gonna work. It ain't gonna fly. That ain't gonna get it. Everybody else can be affected and manipulated by media, except for when we say something. Then no, we can't. We that is no. Nobody's going to change. Everybody's incentivized not to change. We just watched women walk out of the kitchen and go and and defeat and essentially defeat the patriarchy and get them to get men who get they got men to give up power. And now we looking at these type of articles I just read. I'm like, okay, all right. But we got Edward Anderson in the building. What's going on, Ed? What's going on?
Yeah, what's up? Let me see if I can get my headset on here real quick. Cause last time it didn't want to work. But how are you doing?
Doing wonderful, doing wonderful. What's going on? What's up?
Yeah, I'm actually on
Uh
my iPad, so you never hear me. Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. You was going in and out, but
Yeah.
I think you got it.
All right, let me put it back in. All right, can you hear me?
Yeah, yep, it's there.
Okay, good. Okay. Because you never know with Apple products and StreamYard, they seem to be having an ongoing beef or something. But anyway, um, yeah, I kind of just jumped in. So if you want to ask me a question based on what you heard or anything, I can go. See what everybody's talking about. I know you're doing Freestyle Friday.
No, man, I just read this article. I'll try to give you a 30-second summary of what it was about. Damn it, damn
I,
it, damn it. Where?
I hear
Hold
you talk
on.
about the patriarchy giving up power, and I know I've been
Oh
enjoying
no,
Shay Sade using science and statistics and facts to slay the female dragons over there. I know they can't stand it. You're using the light and they're melting, but she's been doing a good job.
yep. No, basically what I was looking at is this article here. Gay men may hold the key to closing the academic gender gap. Study finds it is long past time to rewrite the rules of American masculinity. Long story short, they're basically pointing out that gay men enroll into college and graduate at rates that women do, and they were given some of the reasons why. In their overall conclusion says, in his op-ed, Middleman, that's the person who wrote it, argues that it is long past time to rewrite the rules of American masculinity, and as the U.S. struggles to close the gender gap, there are valuable lessons that can be learned from gay men. They're
Uh,
basically saying straight men need to be more like gay men, and it can close the
yeah, because the
educational
schools
gap.
have been effeminized. Because the schools have been effeminized, and the reality is, I mean, this is all propaganda. I mean, they know this doesn't
Hmm.
work. They know women don't accept it. This is all propaganda. And this article would be a good article for like Darius MGTOW or Coach Greg Adams, folks. Well, even though Coach Greg Adams isn't really MGTOW, he's not. I wouldn't call it that. But anybody that's MGTOW, this would be a great article because this is proof. The problem is that men that quote that build the world or contribute to building the world or because there's levels to it. There's a financial side, obviously. There's the actual physical side. Folks need to outright say, look, you're either on our side, you're on their side. If you're on our side, I'm talking about as a female. If you're on our side, cool. You know how white people talk about we protect our own type of stuff. If you want to be over there, you need to be over there. And we see when men check out, we see what happens. You get Blackistan, and then what do women do? They start trying to run to other groups that are more patriarchal to deal with their infrastructure. I mean, black women are a perfect example of creating a delusion with that. And women don't really have a certain
What do you
sense
mean by
of,
run to other groups that are more patriarchal to deal with their infrastructure?
well, the black men is black because of a lot of things that's happened historically. I say the black community is a gynocracy, a matriarchy,
Hmm.
whatever you want to call it. And a lot of what black women, if you look at their actual complaints on quote unquote Blackistan, as far as what other groups do what's going to be more in a patriarchal context,
No,
build,
I guess
maintain
no.
infrastructure. So they're trying to run to those groups in order to get the patriarchal benefits. You see what I'm saying? That they have pretty much allowed to be dismantled in the black community, and definitely help maintain the status quo to not allow that to to be there.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. I'm just not seeing how they're running to other. I
Okay,
forgot
when you
exactly how
okay
you
when black
worded it.
so
When you,
when
in
so
terms of
why do you think that other than the femininity validation, when divestors talk about I can't rest in my femininity, I'm not safe.
okay, so when you're
Black
talking
men
about
don't build.
infrastructure, you're talking about they're trying to find a man that just makes more money
Yeah,
because
but that's
the
not
infra,
an
the
but when you look at
infrastructure,
who they associate, they don't associate that with a black man.
right?
They
Not
assume all white men have money.
right.
So it's not an individual. They're not looking at it from a case by case basis. They're looking at it from a group basis.
Right. So when they're looking at infrastructure, they're looking at businesses in big buildings that a rich man that they'll never see, feel, touch, or fuck
Infrastructure
actually own.
means a lot more than just the
Okay, so
physical
what?
part.
Okay. Explain to me. All right. Okay, what? Explain infrastructure then. Look,
Well, the
it's only
social,
the
the
infrastructure.
social, the social infrastructure, the like as far as traditions, the culture. There's a lot of levels to it. The physical is just
Oh,
what we
okay.
talk about.
Okay. All right. So basically, what you meant, they're trying. They want to try to go to areas where there's men that have where there's a more intact culture, basically.
Yeah,
Okay, they're trying to go to an area where there's a more
yeah.
intact culture,
Not,
but
and
they
then they
realize,
make
but
it sound like,
the
and
reason
then
that
they
that
make it
culture, the
sound
reason,
like
hold on, real
they're
quick, the reason that that
okay.
culture is more intact is because the women stayed on board with the men to a degree, even though a lot of them,
Well, there's more
have their
checks and balances. Like we know, here's the thing. I'm not trying to say all black women are good, all black women are bad, all not black women are good. The point is there are more. You have had outside groups literally remove, and it never was there to a certain extent. All of the checks and balances. This is going to be another big thing I go into. To dealing with a lot of the women that want to be in the middle, that sometimes could be called chameleons. The biggest thing that I'm going to say is the problem is there are no checks and balances at all amongst female fuckery. There's a whole bunch of legal, social balance checks and balances against men. So you got to jump over all those checks. If you get burned by a dude, that is because you are jumping over those checks and balances. I'll give you an example of what that looks like for a man and not have a lot of checks and balances. When a black woman deals with a white man, there a black women cannot really levy the system as easily, nowhere near as easily on a white man than they can a black man. Regardless how people feel about racism in the country, the reality is a black woman is not going to be able to fleece another. They're not going to let even a black woman judge is not going to let a black woman fleece a dude to the same extent in child support and all this other stuff that they would. It doesn't come up.
yeah, I
It
kind of
doesn't.
disagree with that.
Huh?
I kind of disagree with that.
Well, you can
Real quick, hold
disagree
on, real
with it.
quick. Jason, hold on, hold just talk real quick. JC the Conqueror in the building. He says they really promoting that gay stuff hard, not cool. Shout out to you. Do appreciate the super chat. Appreciate
I mean,
everybody who's supporting the stream.
you can disagree with it, but you're gonna have to provide evidence to the contrary. Because the reality is, you don't see stories of that happening. Number one, and number two, you got black women are outright allegedly being killed by white men, and then the cops are dragging their feet. Like it's not universal across the board like that. It's not. And that's not just with white people. In other groups, there's other cultural contexts. Then, not to mention that those judges have their own biases against black men in general, because a lot of the propaganda of black men are automatically bad fathers. And even somebody like you has to hold that to a certain extent because of the reputation that is put out when it comes to a lot of this propaganda. So, I mean, look, you can disagree, but black women, you're telling me that black women can basically do the same shit to white men if they're in the same type of relationship, the same ease as they could to a black man. That is what you're telling me. You disagree with.
I'm saying that if there's let's work with different scenarios, okay? If a black woman is in divorce court and she's divorcing a white man, I think if she got a good lawyer, she's going to be able to get him for just as much as a white woman would.
No, and I'll prove it. Take
Okay.
Sage Steele, for example. Sage Steele's husband was a stay-at-home dad. Tell me how he got the kids when he don't even work. But Sage Steele was working in 2 million to the point where Sage Steele had to pay child support.
I just found out about that situation today, but I mean, it's
Just
it's
from
an
me right
anecdote.
now.
Yeah, I
Oh,
just
okay.
found.
Well,
Yeah,
my point is when you look at there's a lot of situations like we can do famous and not famous. I would say do your own research and come to your own conclusion, but that's not true. Because first of all, if a black woman has a good lawyer, chances are the white man is gonna have a decent lawyer. And the fact that you even said good lawyer in the first place says a lot, because black women don't need a good lawyer to be able to do that with another brother.
yeah,
That
true.
stuff comes automatic. You basically, it's kind of like you kind of saying, and I know you're not saying it to this extent. If Dwayne Wade, Ludacris, they had good lawyers, but we're gonna forget that Dwayne Wade's ex-wife was crazy as cat shit too.
Yeah.
We forget
So
these things.
fair,
Hmm.
fair enough. Fair enough. I'll grant you that point. I mean, anecdotes don't prove it, but I don't think they're I don't think they're at that kind of a disadvantage. I don't know.
It's not the same disadvantage
I
as a
think
black man. The gap's not that wide. I'll give you that.
I just know from what I understand about the court system, particularly family court. That was the example that I used. I know that it's going to lean in most cases is going to lean towards that woman. I don't necessarily think that they're doing it. Maybe not. I don't think they're doing it to the degree that you're talking about. I
Okay.
don't think they're
I
doing it
mean,
to
I
the
would tell
degree.
you do your own
It's degrees
research.
to. I mean, yeah, that's something I honestly haven't researched. I honestly just
And
say
I
I
have
haven't.
looked into it. So I can
Okay,
tell,
yeah, all
like,
right.
so do your own research. And I would love to have this conversation later. But what I'm saying, this is a reason why black women don't really pursue going after white men like they talk about, because they don't, those checks that they have against black men, because there's American checks against men in general. And that's usually associated with group to group. And then there is extra checks that black men for some reason got to deal with, that black women get to mess with. And I'm telling you right now, and it's not just black women. It depends on other groups. Black women do not get to levy those checks. If a black woman calls the police on a white man, you're getting a completely different response from the cops. I don't give a damn if they black. You could be calling two black cops in Baltimore, and it's a swirl couple, and you are getting a completely different response than if it's a black woman calling a black man on a black man.
Okay, so if they show up from your perspective or whatever you looked up or research, I think we all can understand that they show up. It's a black man there. They view the black man as more of a threat. They're going to be more on guard. They're going to be more they're going to be more ready to
So let's
they
do
gonna, hold
two
on,
black
let me lay it
cops.
out. Let me lay it out.
Hmm.
They're going to be more ready to go. All right. It's a black man there. They show up as a white man there. They don't view the white man as much of a threat. We just showed me and Hood Conservative just was talking about a video where they had broke up just a normal fight between a black dude and a white dude, and then they if they broke a fight between a black dude and a white dude, and it was white female cop, black male cop. I mean, white female cop, white male cop. They basically took the man or the woman took the white guy over to the side and just told him to sit down and be cool. And they took the black kid, because they was like teenagers. They took the black one over to the side. I think they cuffed him and had him sit down and be cool. So it's clearly a difference. I grant that it's a difference, but I think the difference is probably just in how they'll deal with a black man versus how they deal with a white man. I don't think the white cop shows up and he sees a white man in a domestic violence situation with a white woman, and then he goes, and he's gonna go easier on that white man.
Yes, he will, and it depends. It depends. If the chick looks like she got the shit beat out of her, and it's obvious, then yeah, it's obvious. But if it, even Charles Faulkner will tell you that. And I'm not gonna speak for him, but they look at when a white woman. I'm not saying it's that white men don't get punished at all, but when a white woman calls the cops on a white man, a white woman has to account for the fact that dude is getting out of jail. That dude is coming back. It ain't the same thing. Black women don't really got to account for that at the same level. What, like, it's like, okay, even if you do cuff him, okay, I'm gonna be out in less than an hour, and then we're gonna continue this conversation with the fact that you called the police on me, knowing like yeah, white. And I've heard white women say they have to account for that, and how they deal with each other is a little bit different. But I can tell you how a black woman, that please. Like we just got a couple of. I mean, obviously this is anecdotal evidence, but Pink Book and Jada Black, we've had stories like about 3 stories now, where two of them with Connecticut alone, where this is starting to become a bigger situation, where these that Asia situation, where they outright said there's no foul play here. We're not even investigating this murder. You see the body. The body comes out. It's blood in her. This is according to what the family that saw her body. Unfortunately, this is graphic. The body. Well, it's not that graphic. Come out of blood. Come out of her eyes and ears. But somehow they talk about it ain't
Hey,
even no
real quick, Jada
investigation.
Conqueror. Hold on, Jada Conqueror. The topic changed, bro. The topic changed. Appreciate the super check, but the topic organically shifted
The
over.
topic is freestyle, so I'm
Yeah.
freestyling my way out of that. But my point, but my overall, and then even to jump back to the gay topic, it's been known that black men that are homosexual. Hold on, real quick. It's been known that black men that are homosexual make pretty much the same money as heterosexual white men. And I have my suspicions about that because they're not seen as a genetic threat, and they can operate double double kind of affirmative action status in a way. So a corporation can check off 2 boxes. They're not going to be as threatening. That's been known for a long while. And there's stats and surveys to show that too. I didn't just make that up. That's what they
Okay.
said. But yeah, I'm
Well,
swiveling away from
Joshua
that.
Swire is saying Edward is correct. I have a white girlfriend. He is definitely correct. I've been seeing this countless times with other couples. Yeah. Okay. Well, just I'm not necessarily convinced, and it actually plays into one of their arguments. Um, basically the argument is that black women are less protected when it comes to a situation where they're involved with the police if it's a white man that they're involved with.
But
And I
they
just
only
think
ain't.
I
Go ahead. Sorry about
I I,
that.
I tend to believe a woman in this country in a domestic violence situation is going to get a response. Okay, the man is white. I don't care. Hold on. The man is white. It doesn't matter if that woman is Hispanic or Latino, white or black. I think they're going to give a similar response when they show up and see a woman in a domestic violence situation. That's
Okay. I
that's
mean,
what I
you can
tend to believe.
believe that.
I think the variable is that when you put a black man in that situation, there I think that's the variable that makes how they respond to it change. Just I think it's the black male variable. I think they're going to respond the same if it's a white man and then change up the race of the woman. I think they're going to respond the same. You keep that you got all those different races of women. You put black man right there. They'll change based off the black man. They'll they. I mean, unless you're saying that they're threatened by black women, I don't see why they're showing up.
No, like the thing about it is, okay. So as far as the less protected, you rarely hear divestors say that because that's a complaint to white people, and they know you don't never. They when they say they're less protected, that they're talking about with black men. They're not talking about with white men because nobody cares. Black men are not going to care about that, and white people are not going to care about that. So this is why you typically don't see them make complaints. This is why a lot of the women over there don't even talk about a lot of things. Like even with that Chad Wheeler situation, the only time they're going to talk about it is if they can find a way to angle it to make it a black man's fault. If they can't do that, they won't
That's
talk
true.
about it. And one of the reasons they won't talk about it, part of we always say it's because like literally Paris Milan said with the Asia situation real quick that the reason why she unfortunately passed, and we don't know if the white dude was guilty or not, and it's not even a murder investigation. It's just a what happened. They're saying it's not a murder investigation. To be fair to that white dude. And that's one of the complaints that they have because they outright told the family they're not investigating this for murder. This is not murder. Basically, she OD'd and that's on her. Basically, some stuff like that. Like it was an accident. That's literally what they told her. Now, what Paris said, and Red Supreme talked about this. Paris, and I heard it out of her own mouth. Paris said that if she wouldn't have been looking to now, this is a black woman with 4 children by black men, by the way. I want you to understand that. She said that she wouldn't have been looking to even try to date a white man if black men would have been about some shit. The black man, I guess she had kids with. That's the angle. You see what I'm saying? So usually other than that, they just won't talk about it. And part of the reason they won't talk about it is because they know white men are not going to care. They're just going to say, I'm not going to not deal with you, problem solved. Because it's not my problem you pick crazy white dudes.
Right.
I mean, how am I gonna feel guilty about who you're picking? And you know, there's other stuff that go along with that. But the difference is, and this is where it's coming back to what I'm telling you, and you can do your own research and look into this if you want. I'm not saying not to, but what I'm saying is a black woman calling, and it ain't just white, it ain't even just white. I will argue Latin. They are not getting the same response and they do not have the same leverage that they do on black men. And it's and that all that really messes them up because they really don't know how to deal with that. So they fall into delusion. Like a lot of sisters that wind up in these situations, whether it's violence, whatever, they actually are taught to let their guard down more in front of non-black men than they are with black men, even though they have a lot more leverage as to the consequences they can deploy on a black man than a non-black man. And a lot of them know this. And the stats bear that out. And this is why all of the stats when it comes to black women and violence is always aimed at black men as if it's literally non-existent if they go to somewhere else, which is why I always say in the black manosphere, now in this here, I always say it should be everybody in the black manosphere, every single person should be pushing black women to date out. Any complaint that black women have on black men, if you can do better out there, do it. Because ain't nobody forcing you to be here. I mean, for real though, because they always make it sound like it's this hidden hand of black patriarchy that's like one of those virtual
That's the
collars.
part. That's the part I don't like. He said virtual collars. That was a good one. Yeah, they make it seem like they got a virtual collar. They make it seem like the mere fact that their marital rate when it comes to men of other races is so low. It's because they're just so loyal, and that's the reason why. But yeah, they do try to sell that. You know, that's why like Crystal Cares and her whole little thing. You know, increase your dating options as if it's not already increased in as if it's not on the table for them. You know, they never I never thought about it. Like that's how she presents it. Like she's informing them of something that they didn't already that they already didn't want. You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah, she had
it's
a
a weird
video.
thing. Yeah.
She was in a library in 2012. I shout out to dude because he came in here, Hernandez something, and put the video in there, and she was saying that same thing. And it was a black dude that was raising his hand, and he's got 2 daughters, 2 beautiful daughters. He kept saying it. He was the first person to ask questions, and it's because his kids are in school that okay, they brought I guess one is an Italian dude, one is I think a Hispanic dude. But he said that like she had a shirt on when she first met him called, this is what a feminist looks like. And I'm like, well, there you have it. Like your daughters are already feminized and neoliberals already. So they're gonna be on some it's all equal, racism don't exist at all. None of these dynamics matter until they matter. But I can tell you right now, man, I would challenge you to find me a black female that's liquidated, other than like Robert De Niro. And even with Robert De Niro, that still went in his favor. He just waited too long and let her spend all that money. I would challenge, and that wasn't even in court because he won in court. I would challenge you to find me a female that's liquidated a white dude. I would challenge you to go find that, even in the celebrity world.
I mean, it's something I never thought about until today.
Yeah,
But so
Janet
I mean,
Jackson don't count because that was an international situation. I'm talking to somebody that might bring that up. Janet Jackson don't count. So that was an international situation. That was with an Arab, and that was like Saudi Arabia. That was a different situation. That's not in the United States, but because she got away with 500 million.
all right. Shout out to Kenneth Williams, as has a dropped a $5 super sticker. I do appreciate that. What do you think about what Fifi is saying right there? In real life, I don't know any black woman that wants a white man. What do you think about that?
Okay, that's your social circle. Congratulations. I want to know what city you're in, or at least what state. But I mean, I see white black. I mean, keep it real. I do see at least one a black woman with a white dude every day I go out. At least one. It's not like now. Do you see a lot more black men? Well, you sure, but it ain't like that's the majority. But I see at least one.
Yeah,
So
I don't know
let's
if I see
and
one
it's I
every
and you
time I
can
go out, but I
yeah
see them enough. I see it happens enough to where I think that it's slightly disingenuous to say you don't know one that
um
wanted. I will grant her this. She probably don't know one who outwardly has the ideology. I'm not even talking about the reckless part of the ideology where they talking about bullet bags and all that crazy stuff. I'm just talking about
interracial
the
daters, the
yeah,
highest
yeah,
bearers.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. The PG public politically correct rhetoric of a crystalline kerosene. I don't run into or encounter those. Actually, I take that back. Maybe two of those kind of in my life that I've actually encountered. Maybe just one and a half, because the other one
Um,
really didn't. Well, no, I don't know. I'll give it that. Probably two of those. But as far as just the option being on the table, like if a dude of another race that they found attractive approached them and hollered at them and he said the right stuff, yeah, they'll ride with it.
I
But
mean,
far as
you
that
got people
far
like
as that ideology though, like what David Carroll described black women and how much they got this obsession with white men or whatever. I think that hardcore ideology that he was talking about, that he exposed and showed that a lot of them have, I think that's more rare, and you don't see that as much.
yeah,
I'll
because they're
grant her
not gonna
that.
show it. Because
That
if they
that's a
show it,
factor. That's a factor in the equation too. Yeah.
yeah, because black women, number one, if you're think about it, look at like how YouTube. First of all, too, there's a Oprah Winfrey TV show like on the OWN network, and the dude was hosting it. And these are older black women. These are like black women at least 30 to like 45 or 50, right? The whole crowd. He asked them, and I put this up. How many of y'all are interested in an interracial? Damn near every last one of them raised their hand. Like so this has been there. This has been talked about. I get what she's saying. The crazy divester thing. I think she was saying a couple in general, but the crazy ones, they can't have that level of crazy. They just can't because look at how it's starting to line up with YouTube. You got women like Shay Sade, even women like Danica Marie, and I am Courtney Janelle. Like you're not gonna be able to be that crazy with it. Cause think about it. How many women are gonna be out here? Oh man, black men are killing it. Like is you're gonna come off as like an insane person.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's gonna be, but you got a dad though. You were just talking to your dad like an hour ago, and he gave you some. What are you talking about? It'll be, and then the ones that it do show up, it'll be like their head is shaved. They got like a bull ring, which I can't stand bull rings, and that's starting to be more common. They're gonna look like some neo liberal feminist. Yeah.
Yeah, shout out to O'Shea in the building. He complimenting the production. I'm trying. I just saw your production when you be on camera. You got the look like you got. I mean, I saw some of the nice cameras you bought. You showed a picture of one of them. I think you're gonna be doing the struggle wood with that. Look like you had a $20,000 camera over there. So yeah, you got. I'm trying over here. I'm trying to get it to look right. Trying to get it to look right. But appreciate the acknowledgement. Shout out to O'Shea. Do appreciate you. Shout out to Captain Cisco in the building. He says, I'm curious about all the what is that? The Filipina Ed bang
I mean,
in Philippines. Ask him, okay, you banging
that was years. I mean, I'm 35. That was when I was like 28. I ain't. been in the Philippines a long time. He know that. He just wanted to put that out there.
Yeah, I guess
I don't even talk about that on my channel, but it is what it is. It's but post COVID, I don't have no clue what's going on with all that.
All right, Jada LaRue threw a question out there. And yeah, this is a question-driven show because there's no exact topic, so y'all can throw questions out there, and then we'll bounce it around. We'll bounce it around. Jada LaRue in the building says, "Question: Is there a difference between Black Manosphere and white?" Yeah, one is black, one is white. All right, but she says, "Is there any other Manosphere like Asian, etc.?" Ed, you may know the answer to that question. Ain't like a
There is an
Latino.
Asian manosphere, but it's not as prevalent. That you'll see them a little bit under the white manosphere, but there's just like how there's an Asian YouTube, there is an Asian manosphere. It's just going to be acculturated a different way if you really know where to go for the content, because you got to remember Asian women hop more than any other group other than white men. And then Asian, the reputation that Asian men have, from a sexual marketplace value standpoint, Asian women don't help with that, even outside of the hopping. So trust me, they have their own complaints. You deal with some of the brothers that's used to dealing with Asian folks in Seattle and in the Northwest and in the West Coast, where they're going to be more popular rated. You'll see more stuff like that. But our problems, black dudes aren't really dating Asian women at that high level, and if we are, they're going to be more southeastern, like Filipina or something like that. So our stuff doesn't really cross over into their stuff. As far as the white manosphere, yeah, we have a couple of differences. Number one, we focus more on the dynamics that black men and black women have versus the greater American dynamic, which a lot of the stuff we agree on. And yeah. And I could go into that, but we disagree on things like the gynocracy and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, black people are 20 years ahead of a lot what of other groups are dealing with. So our stuff is, and then there's a historical context to why we have to deal with what we deal with. Feminism with black women is not the same as with white women, because black women always work. White women were fighting to work, which means fighting to get access into the economy, like in a way that they could leverage it. So there's a lot of differences, there's a lot of differences. The white man, so the biggest difference I would say is this: the white manosphere is really dealing with a rising trend of female power that they don't like, and the logic, and they have logical arguments and points saying we built the shit, but y'all basically want to take over and then not maintain it. And then black men are dealing with something that, quite frankly, was always there for different reasons. Black men have never had a patriarchy in the United States, and a lot of dudes don't really understand that. We don't have the same exact problem.
Let me throw out a question. You say black men never had a patriarchy in the United
No.
States. Explain to me. I'm not disputing that point, but from your perspective, explain to me how that would actually look, how it would play out, what would define it as. Yeah, we got a patriarchy now, fist in the air. What would define that in your eyes?
I mean, the best way to really think about it is the black church. I mean, look at how the black church was run when it was actually ran right. You had black men in strong positions, but the black women were not just regulated to quote unquote their place. They were more like a Congress, so to speak. So, so that's how it would play out. Extended families, men do what they need to do, but men being given the basically right of deference, because at the end of the day, we got to deal with the shit at the end of the day, not because we think we're men. So yeah, that's how it would look.
Okay, well, this is how I define it, and this is why I said patriarchy, matriarchy. It's a loose term in a free, civilized, westernized country like what we got here. It's a very loose term because it's it's almost a la carte. I don't even know if that's the right word, or freedom of association. If I go to a neighborhood and let's just say 80% of the households are headed by women, either single women or single women with children, and only and only 20% of those households, it's a man in the household, and he's leading his family or whatever. You could say that that's a matriarchal community. Okay, Well, what happens if that neighborhood turns similar to the neighborhood that I grew up in, where it was a lot of black, it was essentially like by the time I was in middle school, my mom essentially remarried, and we were in what I consider to be at least a black middle class neighborhood where it was a lot of black families and a lot of married black couples, a lot of and so we're talking about a neighborhood where it was the
No,
hell.
sorry, that was me
Oh,
against
my
my
fault.
zipper.
Yeah, so we're talking about a neighborhood where it was, men who were the head of their household. Now,
The
is that
problem
so?
is you're looking at it from
Does
a
that does
neighborhood
that
level.
does that make it? Okay, so that doesn't make it patriarchal. But you told me that's why I asked you, because you went to the churches. So that's what I'm trying to get to in order
Well,
to
I
fully
gave you an
establish.
example of what it
Okay,
would look like, because the neighborhood, like to see, okay, because most black people can associate how the black church used to be ran versus how it's ran now. The difference is what's incentivized, what's pushed, what's legally pushed, what's legal, what's socially incentivized. That's the difference. Even like the biggest change is who got the kids. The
All
biggest
yeah.
right, can I
change is
say
who
something
got the
on that?
kids and an
Hold on.
abortion rate. Go ahead, Dre. You can speak on this probably better than I can.
Yeah, yeah. I'm gonna say like one of the things, is, especially from a person who, like I said, like the system stuff. Like people say, oh, you just got experience, but I got more extensive dealing with the system and all like that because I've been processed in and out at least 30 times. So that shows you move around, you talk to a lot of different people, all of that stuff. But like when it comes to like one of the problems when you try to say with this fact with the men of the house head of the household, even back then when black men and black women were married more at their higher rates, the standards that black men had were a lot different than us. Like
Real
for
quick,
us to come home, go to
let me do
work and come
some
home.
hold on
Go
real
ahead.
quick, time out. Let me do a bit of housekeeping. People like that RM, come on, brother. Come on, let's get that background noise under control. People like that RM, just get them out of there. Like that's not even a genuine person. If he would have came up and said, I disagree with the points that y'all are making, and I'm not feeling what y'all are saying is not making sense to me, I don't understand because of A, B, and C, that'd be fine. But if he just coming, like that's somebody who just basically coming in here with muddy boots to put his muddy to fuck your couch, nigga. He just came to put his muddy boots on my couch. Just block him, get him out of here. Don't even delete it or time it out. Just people come in like that, just block them, block them. I'm those people ain't welcome no more. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, Judge. Yeah.
Okay. Now, what I'll say is like this: our family structure was never like theirs, and see how they acted. They acted like we really controlled everything. Even back when we were like at a 70, 80% marriage rate, most of the time the black men, it was standard for them to come home, hand a check to the wife. So even back then, they had a lot more power than the average than white women did then. I mean, black women had a lot more power then. So we were never that beat up. I mean, the worst thing that black men were probably known for being guilty of, especially 40, 50 years ago, is they might have been messing with another chick on the side. But when it comes to actually overall what we had say so in the house, technically it was like the man went out and made the money, but the woman still ran the house. They
Yeah.
would never know. They would never know like, oh, no, 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 dude. I mean, it's like what? The woman did run the house. The man might have said his rules as if he come in, like as you say, come in, like check the homework over and do some shit like
Okay.
that. But most of the time, the woman was running
All right. This
K
this is this
K
is this
Dot
is where
said
Yeah. So
Dre
I
I,
hold
sound
on
like he
real
on the
quick.
wiretap recording.
Yeah, man.
oh
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. But this,
Here. Let me go ahead and
yeah,
change. Let me change.
yeah, yeah. Go ahead. But no, this is where I was trying to steer it more or less, and you was right on the edge of it, Ed. You was almost going where I was trying to take it. Where and me and Hood Conservative, we're gonna be doing a lot of collaborations where we're kind of going to be talking about this to some degree. Where he's saying exactly, Wayman. I say the politics can solve the dating issues. Now, yes, but I think it's easier said than done in a free country. Because like what kind of
Yeah.
what kind
No,
of
I don't agree with
laws
that.
Yeah, it's a tough one. It's a tough one. It's
That's just
there are
another way to get niggas to vote Republican. I mean, just say that. I'm not saying I disagree with that, but just say that. Stop trying to. So, like, I hate when people say what you want and then defend your argument. Don't try to spend all this time running game. And I'm just saying, because the reality is you got to then ask what the fuck I'm not. Look, man. Let's start with I agree that
you
black
you you
men
are
should
you
say
are
F the Dems
assuming
and vote Republican. But hold
you
on, I
you
just want to say
assuming you
this: when you
assuming you know where he's going.
okay, so do you think he's talking about you should get into politics and vote for the Democratic Party to fix this?
I think he's just saying the laws in a country can change a lot of the dating issues, but the $1 million question is where you want those laws to go. I didn't hear him saying vote Republican. It's just a question of where how far are you? We talked about this on the last time I did a one-on-one with him. How far are you willing to push those laws? Like it's almost the question ends up becoming, well, how much freedom you're really trying to take away?
Okay, so to
That
operate
that's why
within.
that's why I
Right.
always say it's more of hey, you're breathing heavy on the mic, bro. But
Oh, my bad.
that's why I always say that it's more of a cultural war. Sexy, I hate to do this publicly. Allegedly, Sexy Red TV. Hit my email. Hit my email. I got something. I did a panel with like 3 men and 3 women, and I'm trying to find women who might be interested in getting on those type of panels that I may do once a week. And you a good candidate. The women I had on last time, they ain't give enough pushback. It was a great conversation. But so yeah, I need so if you're interested, hit my email. It's in the about section. It might
Um,
not work out because you have to be on camera, and you probably scared the cam up. But anyway, okay, Duke Jackson in the building once again. He says Arthur Wall. Oh no, Arthur Wall, donate some money and shut up. Wendy's work. Holy shit. Okay. Oh. I gotta check O'Shea. Don't be bringing all your beef into my chat room, O'Shea.
no,
No, I'm just playing. Go on in. O'Shea
yeah.
can rock out. O'Shea can rock out. Go on in.
To operate within the parameters of what he was saying, because this is where stuff gets slows down. I've heard whatever is this the law. The way you would do it to help dating is to change the laws, to incentivize marriage, and to minimize the push the drawbacks of divorce, because that's the main thing that's keeping a lot of dudes from getting married. That's the main complaints that even MGTOWs have. My problem is I'm not. There's certain things I'm just not fighting women on. I'm just not. I believe in you basically remove the resources from it and let them deal with the fallback versus
Yeah.
I'm having a fight. Because if I got to fight you today, that means I got to fight you tomorrow.
No,
This is why when people try to say I need to get into politics, we need to get into politics so we can fight for what needs to happen to the black community, for these black boys. I'm like, if black women don't love them enough to understand it, then you know what? Let the shit burn. I said this on my channel, and this is gonna sound bad, but I'm gonna say it right here. People need to ask an honest question. Does the black community deserve to survive? And I know I'm making it go
well,
dark, but
before
that's
you,
a
yeah,
real
hold on, wait,
question.
before you take us to the dark side, I do. Damn it, I had something good at the tip of my tongue. It was right on that. It was right on that political thing. Um, damn it, I
You talk
forgot.
about marriage. I was talking about fighting people. We'd have to fight. If we got to fight today, we'll have to fight tomorrow.
Yeah, you're saying you don't want to fight them on it. No, you had said something that just made me take it back to it's in a free country. The vote is with your feet, or just what you allow in your life, who you choose to
Yeah.
deal with, and how you choose to deal with them. That's really what the fight is. Now, the changing the laws is not going to change their behavior. It'll just give you more protection in your dealings with them. I don't think it'll change their behavior. So that's why I say it comes down to a lot of what we're talking about. It comes down to just freedom of association. Who
Eh,
who you gonna deal with, and to some degree, unless we're talking about some overarching political patriarchy that sides in the favor of men at the it's sides in favor of men against women, which we don't have in this country. Patriarchy is almost just It's based off you and how you choose to live. Like you got to choose it for yourself. Basically, it's not some
Well,
overarching thing unless it's coming from some from some top down type of thing,
yeah,
and we don't got that in this country no more.
but
And I'm
that's how it is now. But the thing about it is, it matters if you never had that, because you have other groups that are operating on cultural inertia. Like, this is what they operate on. Like, when I say operate on, what I mean is this is what a lot of folks are socialized into. Like, it matters if you come from generations of single motherhood versus you come from, maybe one person messed up, but for the most part, you're used to seeing a mom and a dad in the home. From a cultural standpoint, you're going to think a certain type of way that's going to lead towards certain outcomes and decisions. And so if you grew up seeing a man do this, seeing a woman acquiesce to that, seeing, even for a woman, think about the women, take the man out of it for a second. When you look at what the women say as to why they do what they do, I had women say, "Oh, well, I'm surrounded by men that don't do nothing," but you still chose to have a baby with them. See, there's a difference putting a female in there that's used to having a mom and a dad that's surrounded by nothing but dudes that don't do nothing. They'll probably most likely come to the conclusion, "I don't need to have a baby with this person. I need to leave." Versus other women, that's what they're used to, so they think that's part of the course. So from a cultural standpoint, stuff like that matters. And so when we say, okay, well, there's no tangible, authoritarian regime that's enforcing every decision you make, fine, that may be true, but the reality, and first of all, the stuff is there to a certain extent, because it's just not as in your face all the time, about it. But like I was saying, at the end of the day, certain groups operate a certain way because that's what they're socialized with. Black women have never really, as a group, been socialized like that, which is why it's pulled a certain type of way all the time.
mm-hmm. And Jada LaRue hit my email too. And and Sexy Red, you may think I don't remember this. I got a real good memory. You, like a year and a half, maybe damn near 2 years ago, you came on my panel under a different name. I remember that. And you accidentally turned your camera on. I saw you off camera. What the hell was that background noise? I saw you off camera before because I blew
It's
it up.
Dre's wiretap.
So I've already seen you on camera going and do the show when I do a multi-panel with men and women, going and cam up. Because if you don't, I'm just gonna show everybody the video when I caught you on camera. You were smoking a cigarette or something. She thought her camera was off. She was smoking a cigarette, and I did her like this. I just made her shit blow up fast like that. It was like, we caught her. But anyway, that was like, so yeah. So we already seen you. We already seen you.
Bernard.
We already seen you.
Yeah.
We already seen you going and cam up. Let us see you in your full glory without a filter. And come on up. Let's get it in. But anyway, Dollar Washer in the building says, I'ma just say this is all BS. Everybody else was oppressed, still had their language and culture intact. Yeah, you worded that funny at first. I thought you was trying to make fun of Ed's I'm gonna say this and I'm done comment. But yeah, I don't necessarily buy the whole being the things happen in this country. It had an effect, but it's not the end all be all. It's not the end all be all. I think free people operating the right way or just trying to move culturally in the right direction can overcome whatever it was that was preventing it. Post. I don't even know where to draw the line.
Nobody said it couldn't, but the problem is
exactly
this stuff.
Exactly.
You make it sound like stuff is not. You make it sound like that was something that happened before, and that is absolute zero. To where it's not there. It's almost like saying, well, the tornado came through the house. So even though the tornado's not there, you still got extremely, extremely, extremely strong winds that can almost pick your ass up. But you're defining that as like zero wind speed. Like, for example, honestly, it's what I said about black women, the fact that you even said that I'm curious, Dre, as to what you got to say about that and the other, because y'all, maybe it is me. But the fact that you said that you have never thought about the fact that a black woman, you actually think it's possible black women can actually fleece a white man in any level, any area of activity, at any kind of degree, the same they can do a black man? That actually speaks volumes, because that's actually common knowledge what I said. That's actually something I'm very surprised I actually got to dig and actually prove. That's almost like that's right there with me saying that black women are never going to get the same quality of a white man that they could otherwise get in a black man, all things being equal. That's right there
That
in the
one,
same
that
kind of
one,
degree.
that one I agree with, but I tend to believe that in the situations that we gave, that a woman in divorce court or child custody court is advantaged against a man. I tend to believe that a woman in a police situation is advantaged against a man in a domestic dispute, is advantaged against a man regardless of her race. I will agree with you and concede that, okay, maybe it's degrees, but I think the degrees and the difference, especially in that police situation, has more to do with the police showing up. They're seeing a black man who potentially did something violent. They're on guard. They're going to know. They're going to be less likely to ask as many questions and just come in and let's get him hauled away and going to be in her favor. I think that's more so what it is. I think putting the black man in that situation is what makes the difference more so than the white man being in that situation. That's what makes the
But
difference.
but remember, and I'll say this, and then I'll back off of it, because again, I don't have kids. I haven't been through the system, but I can tell you, in my opinion, if a white man, usually what happens is that white family don't always want them kids. But I can tell you, if a white man wants those kids, like the initial stuff you talk about in your when you was talking about your story that you brought up, like the initial stuff, I can tell you right now, I don't even think they got it. I'm telling you, white men want them kids, they getting them kids. But
Well, okay. Let me explain it like this. I asked lead attorney this. I said, what percentage of the men that you represent, how many of them are white? He said the majority, about 90% of his clients are white.
how many of them got black women?
Okay,
A white man on a white no. If you were saying a white man on a white woman, yes, they're gonna deal with the same.
okay.
They will deal with similar. Yes, the white women can fuck a white man. That's never. I never said they could.
Right.
I said from the violence standpoint, a white woman has to account for the fact that they don't throw away the keys on white men, and so the jail is like a fast food. They coming out. They coming back. They ain't like a black man where black man has his fear of the police. We know white people do not have the same fear of the police. So a white woman has to account for it. That's a white man, not a black man. So even in a domestic situation, they are not going to basically put them down in the same way they will put a black man down. A white woman has to account for that when they're having those situations. That's how white people interact with each other. But if you're talking about a white woman having the ability to liquidate a white man, then yeah, I'll give you that. Sure. Yeah. I won't say it's exactly on par, but it's not a wide gap. I'm talking about a black woman liquidating a white man. That's what I'm talking about.
Not happening.
Yeah, I'm talking about, yeah. But as far
Yeah,
as white women,
are we debating
they,
if race matters within?
Yes, definitely.
no,
yeah, of course race matters.
even if you say even
It
if you
does
say
matter.
race, yeah,
Wait,
like
wait.
a lag, yeah.
Because the alternative is race doesn't matter within the
Bullshit.
law.
But and I'm gonna say this,
wait.
I'm gonna let y'all rock. Because here's the thing: black women have their biases in the system too. Like it's just that that doesn't count in reference to black men. But do you think that white people believe? I got a question. Do you really believe that white people believe? Because it's assumed that the mother is better for the kids than the father across the board, right? So
Do
a
I
white
believe
mother
that they believe that?
Mm-hmm.
so like a white mother is gonna be better to have the kids than a white father.
With a
Yeah,
lot
I don't. Wait. Hold
I,
on. Wait. Time out. You asked me a question.
uh-huh.
I don't think they care, because I think women won the information war, the media war, the propaganda war, and they have their agenda, just like the woman that I sat across from, who was the arbitrator in my custody issue. She was very, very biased. She was just very, very biased towards the woman. There was Okay, I'm going back to the lead attorney again. It was a woman who showed up in this chat room who actually said, she pulled up and said, if a man cheats on his wife, he doesn't deserve custody of the kids. He went off on her, and then he just blew a gasket when he found out she was a social worker, which means she's influencing these families. So I mean, so when you say white people in general, what do they think? It don't matter if the people in the systems, the women in those systems have their biases and they're pulling the strings and they're writing up those reports, and those reports get in the hands of the judge. And I know firsthand, judges are lazy. They don't want to make decisions. They want to just take the paperwork from the people that's under them and take their recommendation and just hand the kids to the mom. That's why they get the kids 90% of the time. I know that happens. I just didn't consider that all of a sudden that when that race switch up, that race change up, it's a white man, a black woman, and all of a sudden they get patriarchal all of a sudden. I think they still taking the word from that woman
No,
who's probably going to side with the woman.
I'll prove it to you. I'm just going to. This is one of the key things that I think that us black people, and this is the most powerful thing that they have over us that we'll never have, and it's called benefit of the doubt. I said, if you ever notice every case with us, it's like literally when something goes down, well, most of the time you even look at it when it's all with us, well, prove that he didn't do nothing wrong. That's how it's looked at. Perfect example. I had a case here, matter of fact, with a white guy who actually attacked me with a hammer at one of the job sites. Police come, they walk in, they immediately throw me in cuffs, this, that, and the other. Boss of the company comes, says, no, Dre has never showed any anger to another. 3 other employees come, say, Dre has never showed. And wait, listen.
We were talking. Hold on, wait, time out. No, wait a second. Wait, no, 30 seconds is long. Hold on. We were talking about women and children, and whether or not the race of the man that they're dealing with when they're
he was a white man.
Influences decision.
No. You're okay. That is man versus man. I can see that simple point that they show up. They're more on in a violent situation. They show up more on edge if it's a black man involved. That part is conceded. I'm talking about if they show up in a violent situation, there's no black man involved. It's a white man and a black woman. And do they show up and all of a sudden they view that black woman as hostile, like how they view black men, and then that white man is going to be advantaged against a potentially abused
That's
woman.
never what I said.
Wait a minute. Wait. Go and sit back at work. I'm gonna give you a perfect example. Go to it was just a video where a white guy just decked a black girl. If you see it was all on video. That dude didn't even get cuffed, period.
He didn't get cuffed at all?
At all.
All right.
Now, if you want to sit up here and say he did, and I mean like literally it was recorded, he ran up on her like across the room. It was like, wow, hit her with a one-hitter quitter. And I mean, he didn't get.
Did they sit there? Did they sit there with the camera waiting for the police to come?
Matter of fact, if you want me to go and name the channel.
How long is the video?
It's not a long video. Go to
How long is the video?
Like 45 seconds.
Okay, so in 45 seconds, he landed a punch, and then the police came and talked to him and arrested him without cuffs.
No, he never got arrested, period. No charges were brought up.
Okay, all right. So you're saying that his name is out there, and we know that no charges was brought on the dude. That's what you're saying.
And by a reputable channel, by a bigger than us.
The thing, let me tell you how I want to basically submit my position. In my opinion, a white man could go in there. There ain't nothing but black women in that whole court. The bailiff, the judge, the everybody in there. And I can tell you right now that I'm telling you that white man won't get fucked if she dealing with a black woman. I can tell, because you looking at it, you actually believe these people believe this propaganda. They know what's up and what's not up. They know who they can deploy that shit on and who they can't. This is one of the reasons why I'm very passionate on those type of things. And I've seen them make the switch. I've seen the switch, and it ain't just anecdotal. Like I'm telling you, there is a reason why black women do not complain about the shit white people do. It ain't just they're afraid that white men won't deal with them. It's because they understand that their complaining is irrelevant. It does not. In fact, they will be punished for it, punished for doing that. There is a reason why they don't do that. There's a reason why these women never, because even Cynthia G, when Cynthia G used to talk about white men and white death, there's a reason why she stopped at the drop of a dime doing that and made a complete 180 switch. Because she used to do theirs to say it stuff about all men, not just black men. There's a reason why she stopped out of nowhere. Like I'm telling you, dude.
Yeah, because she
Like
lost her
black.
channel. She lost her channel for calling them albinoid devils every day.
That's another thing too. That's another thing. So and by the way, think about it. Same person talking about poor black male babies knocking at the door 100,000. But my point is, even with the other women that didn't go through that, there's a reason why you see these stories where black women get attacked by non-black men. It's virtually non-existent, but they over empathize when it happens with black men to try to make up for that. In real life, black women, I could give example situations with Gary Owens, all that stuff, where women will actually pull black men or white men up from poverty and still get screwed over, in court, because they will not allow a black female to use these court systems to deal with a white. Like it doesn't happen. Maybe that's new to you. And maybe it's because I'm in North Carolina, but even in Chicago,
this is the angle on this that I've never thought of. I
Well,
understand.
we know white
Okay.
men got advantage in court in pretty much every circumstance. Why would domestic violence be?
Now with white
Exactly.
women, that's a little bit different because that's them dealing with each other.
Yeah,
So
that's
that's
obviously
calculated.
different.
So
Right.
so we're not saying that a white man could go. Yes, a white woman. I have seen that. Look, dude, I have divorce court is built around. Yes, white women can easily liquidate white men. I'm not debating that. But what I will say is, when a white woman calls the cops on a white man for domestic violence, it is not going to be met the same way. Where if they call the cops on a black man, it ain't no. When a black woman calls a black, ain't no. We gonna put them in cuffs. They gonna want to know what happened. Unless that chick looks like she done had the living shit beat out of her, they gonna want to know what happened.
Yeah, he
And they
would get
gonna
the benefit of the doubt.
All
Yeah.
right.
yeah.
So
Now
let's just,
yeah. That's
all right.
yeah.
So let the record show that you're saying that
Otherwise, the
white
alternative.
America, even at the police level, are not protecting white women. I don't.
That's not. It's not the same. That's
Not
not
white
really.
women.
You're drawing an extreme to something that I'm saying. I'm
Yeah,
not
'cause
saying like
yeah, you
like
can't.
for instance, they're gonna like a white man. Look, let's say the white man gets arrested. That white man is like, it's just like when they assign bail or little things that they have control. We see when a white man does something, they get the lower end on that, even if they
Yeah.
do it to white women versus a black man. The problem is black men are overdone. It's not that they're underdone. So it's not about protection. It's really about because we know
It's
black
disproportionate.
women
Yeah.
across the board, across race, initiate violence more than men. Everybody know, they know this. They just choose to use a lot of these things as excuses to do something to certain people and others. But see, if people have this mindset of racism and these attitudes don't really exist like that, then you can't really come to those conclusions because you have to bring up other reasons as to why that's really going on. But we see it in corporate America. Motherfuckers code switch, like the code switch. You think white people don't code switch? You think white people don't do something for certain people and not others? This is why even like they won't hire a black man that's got a college degree and's got but now they want to play the certification game with Google. Now that all these white dudes ain't going to college. So if you got the search and you can do the work, it happens everywhere. And I don't see racism everywhere, but I do know what I do see. I do not know. I know what the stats show me. I do know what I've observed over time. And you can definitely make it in the country. I'm not saying that. But understand, these motherfuckers are not they know what propaganda is and what they just using the bullshit. They know that.
All
They know
right,
that.
Pablo.
So
Pablo, come back. Pablo, come back. Use probably. I take it you was potentially going to take this in a different direction. I'll let you go on and come back. I mean, this is an interesting one. I didn't mean to exactly go down this rabbit hole, but
yeah.
I'm glad you brought up an angle of this that I never thought about. I never
And even
exactly thought about it from that angle, because I know we've talked before where we've talked about where from the angle of a black man, black woman, he's going to be in more in deeper shit when the police get caught in a domestic situation than with a white man and white woman. And I remember responding to you then, saying that police show up to respond to a domestic violence call involving a white woman, You telling me that they're not going to do their job? We had that
They're
debate
not going to
before.
be as heavy-handed. They're not
They're
I
gonna
as
have
they're
yeah
bias. I think
yeah
it's
I,
yeah,
I
already
they're
been
got
not
proven they
cut.
have
exactly.
bias. It's
I,
a
I,
bias,
I
Yeah.
got
racial bias.
I got you on
Yeah,
that, but I never even thought about it from the okay now
a gender bias.
to what degree they're going to do their job or not do their job or be heavy-handed or not heavy-handed
Yeah.
if a black woman, white man. I honestly never thought
And,
about it from that perspective. But
and real quick, another thing I'll tell you, I'll be 10 seconds.
all
If
right.
you get two black cops and it's a white woman and a white man, it's the same thing. It ain't racial. It's that cold blue shit. They know. They're told how to go about certain groups. That's why when they talk about that training shit, I know that's bullshit. They are. Like, I've seen it. You can get two black cops and they are going to be very hesitant to deal with a white man a certain way versus they know they don't have that same problem because they know if that white man gets their badge numbers, that's going to be a different conversation that's going to get had.
All right.
You don't have to believe it.
No,
You don't have to
that's
believe
what
it.
that's why I said all right, because I wouldn't even I ain't even that I'm not even up for a debate on it right now, and I'm honestly it's cool. It's
I
Yeah,
cool.
we can
know
move
it's
on. We can move
Friday.
on.
I'm
It's
chilling.
Friday.
But no, compassionate I'm trying to figure out what your name is.
Compassionate and callous.
Compassionate and callous. Like, oh, I can't see it down there. I should be able to see it. But anyway, compassionate and callous. You came up, you got cut it out, hood service. But
Oh,
you came up and you had I don't know what prompted you to come up. You can go ahead and take it wherever you wanted to take it. Go ahead.
oh no, I think I came up during the debate. The how does patriarchy look in the if it existed within the black community debate, and how laws affected type thing, and it kind of it started going in a different direction. But I guess obviously there's a correlation between how the laws are set and then how the social structure plays out within our community. So I think obviously the laws have to change in order for the social structure to change. But then you still had a problem of how we organize that social structure after the laws are changed. I think they do. If you get the laws out of the way, like somebody said, like the divorce laws, or you may modify those, and then maybe some headway, like a natural it will naturally correct itself at some level, I guess. Maybe disincentivize divorce, maybe incentivize maybe coupling more, and maybe we would our maybe naturally our social structures would, evolve. Uh but yeah, definitely I feel like you would definitely have to, the first thing we have to do is, if anything could be done to rectify the chasm we have, it would have to be laws. But like you said, it's definitely more complicated than that, clearly. So
There needs to be checks and balances. The problem is there are no checks and balances against women, and women, the way women believe that laws should not be a static thing. It should be something that the law should match how emotional they are at any given time. And you see that reflected in how things like sexual assault, grabbing. Look, if a man grabs a woman's ass and a woman punches him in the face and breaks his nose, that's on that dude. But my point is that's not grape. Grape as in the grapefruit.
right.
That's not. I don't care. I don't care. I'm not saying he shouldn't have any punishment for that, whether that's levied in school. Obviously, that is sexual harassment. I will say that, but that is not great. It's not. But see, they want the laws to mean just like what happened with Mediocre Tutorial when he said, I touched you though in order to get your attention. Oh, but you're cute. This is how they want the
Mm.
laws to work. And think about it. You have situations where you have judges that pretty much can give Senate, like depending on the law, depending on what the law is as far as how they disclose punishment, and obviously family court, the judges have more power. You get what I'm saying? But that's what they want. They don't want a jury. They want the judge to be able to give laws out according to a woman's emotions. This is how they think. And it
And
ain't
I,
just black
yeah,
women as you saw white women think that way. That's a problem.
yeah, and that obviously just destabilizes the social agreements and constructs we have to keep everything
Exactly.
stable. So obviously that's the direction we've been going, and it's completely fucking destroying the entire fabric of society. So the only alternative to that is to go the opposite direction from my point of view, or like fundamentally
What does that mean?
reshape.
Hold on, what does that mean? Go the
I
opposite
mean,
direction.
obviously not not. Go the opposite direction in terms of not try to legislate the culture, like Ed was just speaking to. They want to legislate behavior. They want to legislate the culture into how they want everything to operate, and that's not
Even
how
dating.
culture healthily organizes itself. So instead of doing that, go the opposite way. You can't legislate culture. You have to come up with cultural agreements that everyone benefits from,
But
obviously.
even but
Or
even if you do that, that's why everything is like with women, it's a political issue. To them, being fat is a political issue. Fat
right,
phobia,
and
all these
essentially
phobias.
they
Yeah.
want, if they could, they would make that illegal. So, like, to your point, they would go the route of legislating culture, and obviously that's just not the right way of going. I mean, that's just obviously not the right way to organize society. So
And
not let's just not do that. Let's take that off the table and let's do something else. That's my
And
point.
I'm just gonna add this. You even if you take the women off the table, we have a problem convincing a lot of dudes of that. You always have dudes talk about all you're doing is talking about women. All you do is just individualize your way around it. And a lot of these dudes, if they're around women enough, they'll buy into their BS. Maybe because they have all daughters, even if they don't have kids, they will buy. And this translates into real votes. And this is another reason why I'm really not interested until you get this. This is why I say we want to have a conversation with all cards on the table, because you're going to get eviscerated if you try to go into a political situation where I could argue like 35% of men, it's only 35% of the men you're going to get across races. It's really the rest of them, 65, are really on this bullshit to some degree or another. And even the
Yeah.
Republican Party, and I'm not saying Hood Server was saying that, but I'm just adding that in on my own. Republican Party says that they're pro-family. What laws have you seen that they've really fought for? They haven't talked about adjusting divorce or marriage reform. They haven't talked about none of this. I keep saying, what laws have white women or women that are conservative overturned that liberal women have fought for and won?
None.
For
Like,
women.
you're right.
Exactly. So that's why when people talk about going political, I'm like, no, you got to solve this other problem first. Dudes have to really understand that this doesn't just mess you up. This messes your daughters up. You got to
No,
really
Bernard said,
understand that your daughter. Yeah, go ahead.
Bernard said it earlier that I think, then that's where he, like, before the laws, you almost have to, because people vote on how they feel and
Yeah.
what they think. So you almost have to change the culture, which is a harder thing to do. Like,
Yeah.
obviously,
But
I don't know
culture
how
But
defines all of that.
well, it is in a way harder to do, but it's I don't view it as some impossible thing, because we
not
saw.
impossible. No.
Yeah. We saw culture change. Well, we didn't see it. We wasn't alive. Well, some of us probably was, but I mean, it was a huge cultural change.
Yeah.
Coming out of the '60s into the '70s, it was a huge cultural change.
Or even as
And
feminism emerged, we watched that slowly.
yeah, no, I was referring to the second wave of feminism. That was part
Yeah,
of the
yeah,
cultural
yeah.
change. Second wave of feminists, sexual revolution, all of that. Those
So
those were
is that what it will
major.
take?
Those were
Another
major
slow.
cultural changes, and it was sometime earlier on at the early galvanizing stage when people were talking and they were brewing up on. They were
Yeah.
rallying the troops, even with the civil rights movement. They didn't just all of a sudden just kick down the door in 1965 and get some legislation passed.
Right,
It
right.
was a cultural change that was going on, where we saw that in the civil rights movement, where they say that to us all the time. You'll never convince women to give up power. Okay, we
Yeah.
saw a cultural change where don't panic when I say this. Some power was given up
Yeah, I
by
get what
white
you're going.
people in the civil rights
Yeah.
movement when it came to feminism, second wave of
Some ground was
feminism.
given, let's
Yes,
say.
some ground was given. I mean, it's just no, but no. Look at the country now. White people about to not be white people are going to not be the majority in this country in like 20 years. So clearly, a lot of ground was given. Clearly, a lot of ground was given. Now,
what
easy, whether or
No,
not,
no, that's I'm
Yeah,
not
I
gonna
know what you
push
mean.
back,
Not
but
yeah.
decisions. No, no, I'm what I'm saying is decisions were made. Like Reagan is the one that let these people come in here in the first place, as far as the Hispanics at the level that he did, and then gave them amnesty. That's the
yeah,
Yeah,
Republicans that did. Hold on,
yeah,
and they did that for money.
yeah.
There's never, trust me. Anytime
It's
they're
not one
getting
dimensional,
something,
right?
well,
Yeah,
no, and it's something that they just like with the China thing, where we did NAFTA before China. Well, China started to open up, but before China, we we did NAFTA. Then we did the shipping all our products to be made in China. All like a lot of that is 1%. That's like a class angle that doesn't get looked at. Even feminism doesn't work the same level if you have a certain amount of money that it does if you're at like the rest of the 99%. So
yeah.
it's a class. So it's even that is class warfare.
It's
That's not to take away nothing Bernard said. What I'm
hold
no,
on,
saying though,
but hold
it's
on,
a
even hold on, wait, look at this comment though. He said we only 13%. Gay people a lower percentage, but again, they changed the culture to the point to where now you can come out with a TV show where all the main
yeah,
characters, even including the damn dog, is gay. It's
ag-
yeah.
like the culture has changed, like
It's a
culture
again,
combination
has
of
changed.
it's a combination of responses and reactions, and some of
uh,
it's a combination of them. So you're right. And we could argue all day about the combinations of responses and reactions that
that I didn't
add
mean
up.
that to deny it, but what I'm saying is there's a reason, there's another aspect to that too. And even with the gay thing, that's another form of class destabilization, because if you got less men, like if you want to feminize the men, and I'm talking about white men too. I'm not even talking about, because a lot of that comes from Vietnam War where people, it wasn't black men, that was white men that were pushing back too hard, and they said, okay, we need to mellow that out. So the more you feminize them, the more they're under control, because they're not worried about women. So even with the gay thing, that's something that even though it's pushed, it is allowed. Now, another thing that we'll say with that being said is gay people pay money. And that's another thing. They're in communication, which is why I always say the main thing that black men need to worry about first. Now, people can have what they advocate for, but the thing we should all agree on is the goal of networking as many black men as possible, having as much communication directly or one or two dimensions indirectly to the 12 million adult black men and the black men that turn 18 as possible, because that's where we can get these, because we know we got the arguments. It's just a
Mhm.
matter of getting those arguments and getting enough people, because you only really need to change 10%. 10% of one, or 10% is 1%, then 10%. Then we only need to get to a lot of the dudes that's got the money too, as far as black men, and that's 25% of black men. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I get
It
you.
is ways you can do it. I'm not saying it can't be done, but you don't really see that. What you see is the people that make the best headway. Take Kevin Samuels off the table. Mediocre tutorial reviews, poor man podcast. It becomes this like cannibalistic. They not talk about what I want to talk about, or I'm
Hmm.
not the dude that's there. To me, that gets around that, because those dudes will got be benefit from more people being brought into the fold. And then you're seeing some women come in where, think about it with the women were afraid to talk, because if one by one they get whack-a-mole. But now after Kevin popped off and they saw there was other women that thought like they did, now you're seeing them starting to network, which makes it a lot harder for these women to just call them pick-me's and all mammies and all of that. That's harder to
Yeah.
do. So you got newer women that are able to come in under that umbrella. You see it? So go ahead, but you get what I'm saying.
No, no, no. I get you. I get you. I'm with you all day. We at the 2 hour mark, and I said I wasn't going to do 3 hours a day. But we got Clarence Jr. coming up. I'm going to more or less let you take us home. Don't say nothing too interesting and have us going for another hour. So go ahead. So go ahead, man. You got it. You got it. You got it, Clarence. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just, a little confused in terms of all this quote unquote power that women have. It's just in my personal opinion, women only do what men allow them to do. So I'm just confused on that.
Well, you're not talking about power right there. You're talking. Are you talking about like a woman, how she deals with you in a relationship? Like, yeah, my woman, she will only do in that relationship what I allow her to get. What I allow her to get away with. I mean, she ain't that chick that's constantly trying to get away with something. But yeah, if I let her do something wrong, and then I know if she do something wrong and I don't say nothing about it, and then it just becomes a normal thing that she does, and then yeah, I'm letting her get away with it. Is that what you're talking about?
I'm talking about overall because I'm hearing a lot of talk about like we need to galvanize men and work to change the laws. I'm like, what laws exactly?
You don't think that it would be a good law that if we could get something like if when a child is born, it's automatically 50-50 custody no matter what?
In theory, yes, but at the same time, I think we got to be more responsible with who we have kids with. Like the majority of our kids are
Man,
not
that's
born
that's a
in
that, that's
marriage.
that's a damn cop out, man. Like because who controls who gets born or not? You say have kids with, and then men have a say so in that. A man has a say so in who he has sex with. Women have, so that's like what 15% of the process. A woman has say so, same as well as the morning after pill, as well as who gets born.
But what I'm saying is, a woman cannot get pregnant without your seed, and you voluntarily gave it to her.
Dude,
Correct?
dude, dude. When men
That
have
that is
sex with women, that is not a declaration to have a child. So it'd be that'd
No,
be the
no, no.
same
Wait,
hold on,
thing.
no.
hold on,
Yes, yes,
hold on, time
yes,
out,
it
time out, time
is.
out, time
Yes,
out,
it
time out,
is.
time out, time out. I want to take it this route. I know where you're going, Ed. So, all right, you're saying a woman cannot get pregnant unless you give her your seed.
And that's a
That
lie
is
too.
okay. Let's stop
My
for a
bad.
second.
I'll let the host rock.
All right, let's yeah, okay. She can't get pregnant unless you give her your seed. That is true. So once you and that woman have that child, regardless of who messed up, how bad you messed up, how bad she messed up, the fact of the matter is she has all the power after the fact. So if we're talking about ways to take back some power after the fact legally to make it to where it's not it's not in a situation even with a divorce, because even with a divorce it ain't fair, but let's just even not even deal with the divorce. If we're talking about changing laws to the point to where it's not just automatically her kid and you got to go to a court and pay a bunch of money and file this and file that and do all of that just to, in the end be handed every other weekend and Wednesday from 5 to 8 and have to pay for a child that you only get to see 4 days out of the month. If we're talking about that not being the case, that's something that you as a man should agree with. But I understand, like, your argument should be, yeah, we need to change these laws. We need to make it to where men don't have to go through all those loops to have their kids and their lives and blah, blah, blah. But in the meantime, let's be careful, fellas. Then we got no pushback. But when I brought up the laws and let's make it 1 week on, 1 week off. How about that? You was like, well, yeah, in theory, that's basically saying, no, let's let them keep the power. Let's just make sure that we just in a constant perpetual walking on eggshell state. That's basically what you're saying.
Also, Dennis Sperling has 12 days of the kid being with him. Dennis Sperling is a billionaire attorney. You see what he does. He literally puts how he raises his boys on in social media. Having them doing a lot of great activities. It's very clear they're going to be productive, tax-paying people of society, probably even more than a lot of white people are. That being said, he
I'm
has
sorry,
12
Big
days
Bag
with his
James. That's
kid.
funny.
And the only thing that we can come to that is he has 12 days because of who he decided to have kids with. When you talk about taking responsibility, because keep in mind what you said that in context of a man that wants custody of his kids. So he wants that responsibility, and more than likely he's demonstrated he can deal with that responsibility. But what we're going to do is we're going to give full custody to a chick that you don't know, because you're already saying he should have picked better. So by definition, you're already acknowledging that that's not the best chick to begin with based on your argument. Yet the kids now need to suffer because of that dude picking that chick, even though he wants to take on his responsibility. This is your argument. And this is how your argument sounds to me, which is why I started to get animated. Because really, what you're doing is all you're doing is you're inversing what we say and trying to inverse it back at us, rather than understanding the context by which what we say, which is why you're always talking about you're confused.
What I'm saying is that, in my personal opinion, men are always 100% responsible for what happens to them because they are men. Once you start talking about, is
What is
this
that? What
person's
does that
fault?
have to
Is
do
that
with the
person's fault?
laws? What is that? It's not about somebody's fault. If you let's stick to the 50-50 custody. What does that have to do with that needing to change and it being 50-50 custody automatically? Because you said they're both responsible for having a kid 100%, right?
So what I'm saying is this: since you know what the law is, why did you have that baby? It's really that
He didn't
simple.
have.
You starting? I
Yes,
think
he
that's
did.
I think we starting from a
Yeah.
false premise that
What you're
a
saying
man is
is, Clarence,
100%.
everything is a man's fault, and
Yeah,
No,
that's an
every
oversimplification. That's an
no, I'm
oversimplification of life, bro.
I'm
because
saying everything
I
that
will
happens
never
to him.
I will never hear you go over there to any bitch and say that same shit. I would love you show me the video the day you do that shit.
But see, here's the thing: why are we switching it to women? We're talking about men,
You
and
see,
I'm saying as a man,
see.
you are responsible for what you do. Is that not true?
So am
That
I responsible? Hold on. So okay, let me say it
yes,
this way
that's
then.
quick. No, the
No,
short
no.
answer to that question is yes.
Yeah,
You're
but hold
100%
on. So
But
responsible for
hold
there's
on,
what you
time
there's
out,
do.
time
there's
out.
some
I'm
We
buts.
can
going
agree
somewhere.
on
I'm
that.
going somewhere with this. I'm going somewhere with this. If you get married to a woman and a woman decides to divorce you on some no fault divorce,
How are you
so
100%
now you gonna
responsible for
still
that?
pull that same shit?
That means I picked the wrong woman.
Okay, so just say it's
Okay,
always the man's fault, and the woman has no accountability to nothing. Add that in there so I know what you want.
That's
okay.
No,
philosophically not
Clarence,
what I
sound.
what I'm
Hear me.
saying,
Hold on, wait.
what I'm saying.
Hear me on this, man. If you're just saying, "Hey, brothers, we got to take more responsibility," then look,
That's not
okay,
what he's saying.
if he was saying that, we would be with you on that. But
Yeah,
you can't. You came in with the premise. I'm sorry. You was like, I'm sorry. I'm just trying to figure out what power do they have. If even in a divorce where the children were born into the marriage, if the woman gets the kids 90% of the time, and according to every attorney I ever talked to, men try to get 50-50 custody the majority of the time, and they don't get it. That is the power that they have. They have the power to where even if both people, hey, they made good decisions, it was a happy relationship, it just didn't work out. They have the power during the separation. You can't deny the simple fact that they got power, and you can't deny the simple fact that that power imbalance affects the
yeah,
outcomes and increases the probability that a man is going to end up in a weaker situation where he's seeing his kids less and he's
yeah.
paying more. And
Tender
that
years,
and
Let
that
me ask
kid
you.
and
Let me ask this
that
question.
kid is going to be raised in a situation that we know is statistically problematic.
and that's out of his
So
control. So it
and
can't be
so
100%.
so to
Yeah.
try to say that we don't
Uh,
need to do nothing, we don't need to be even trying to no don't mess with don't mess with the hornet's nest. That don't it's like I don't understand that. I don't understand that.
what?
But if you were just simply saying
Let
what
me
we
ask the
all
question.
say,
He's not.
if
You're
you were
trying to help him
if
out.
if you yeah, I would love to help people like this.
I'm talking.
if
Understand, he's a
if
product of my channel, so
He
I know
giving him
what
a
I'm
golden.
dealing
He
with.
giving
nah,
him a golden bridge of retreat.
he
I got a question for you guys. I got a
all right.
question. Do you agree that there are some women out there that no matter how the relationship ends, she's not going to take the children away because she recognizes the value of her father? Do you agree that there are some women out there like
It
that?
has
Okay.
to be. It
Yeah.
has
So
to
the
Yeah,
be.
question is,
there are
what
some.
percentage?
Yeah, it has to
So
be.
then the question is, why didn't you have a kid with those kind of women?
That's a good question, but you're asking men to bat 1,000, and I don't even ask women to bat 1,000 when it comes to their mating choices. It's one thing for somebody to try to do the right thing and it goes wrong. After goes wrong, okay, what are the laws? What are the stipulations? And what's the outcomes? But
Yeah,
so all we're asking for is
it's a
if we're
reasonable
talking about
person standard, basically. A
yeah,
reasonable person standard.
that's what
That's
we're
the
And now,
asking
standard.
for. But
and
if this is what he's trying to do. He's trying to put the it's your fault you picked her argument on steroids. But you can't do that if you try to first acknowledge that there is nothing wrong with the laws.
this is the
Okay,
problem I
if
have
you
with
if you
Clarence.
say there's if you say there's
Hold
if
on,
you
hold on,
say
hold
hold
on.
on wait
Time
wait
out,
wait
time
stop
out,
stop
time
stop
out,
stop
time.
stop. If you say there's nothing wrong with the laws, you can't then make that argument.
Hold on,
You
Ed.
are
Let him say it.
responsible. You are
Also, hold on.
responsible for
I
you
got
are
one more
re-
thing.
you stop. You are responsible for who you pick. But at the end of the day, if you end up picking somebody and everything is cool and everything is right with her, and y'all got something good going. Y'all even get to the point where y'all done got married, y'all done built a family together, and then after all of that, she goes left on you. You can't be that surgical with your picking process.
Right.
But if you
premeditate.
picking a chick with fire engine red weave twerking in the club, and then okay, yeah, that man picked wrong. If you could pick a
And
decent
that's what he's
one,
trying to do.
like basically there. Listen, the dude, you could pick a woman who on paper everything is right and everything is right about her behavior. When she sit in that damn custody court, divorce court, you don't know what kind of monster is going to come out of her. So no, you can't just say, well, just be able to see the future and pick the one who wouldn't do that. Well, if it was as simple as identifying that as one that's twerking in the club with fire engine red weave versus one who's singing in the choir at a church, if it was just that simple, but the damn good girl, church girl, would be just as vicious in divorce court, and you know that. So you gaslighting us. We know better. Stop.
No, wait.
So hold on.
I got a question for you. I got a question.
Hold on. You didn't ask a couple of questions. You'll get it, but 1 second. Another thing too is we don't even put that burden or responsibility on the females. We saying that if you get with a nigga that already got 2-3 kids or 2 kids by 2 different men, and then you expect him to commit to you, that's a known choice. We're not sitting here
He's saying it shouldn't go on
dudes
them.
are presenting himself like Lawrence from Insecure, and then he just out of the blue do a whole bunch of. That's not what we're saying, and we've never said that. But how he observes what we say, because all he's doing is reflecting what we say right back at us in the form of questions, thinking, "Oh, well, you all are not accountable to the very things you say." But real talk, that's not even what we hold women to. We don't hold women to that. We say you skip over all, nigga. We know 54% of black men are childless. So we're like, if you skip over all these other motherfuckers and somehow you wind up with the 16%, that is not the same in the inverse of what you're saying. But you're trying to make that same argument. And then I ask you, why the fuck are you even in this space? Because all you really do is you just take what we say and try to make the inverse without really understanding the context. You're talking to a dude that was married, a dude that had kids in wedlock. I don't have kids. So it's like you're bringing, and there's a lot of dudes in this space. I believe Palmer is married, isn't he? Yeah, You're talking to people, Angry Man, and this is a night. I'm not gonna blow the spot up. He did a video talking about he's been talking about long-term relationships for a long time. He just said don't get the paperwork. That's what he said, and he's been saying that, and I acknowledge that. And he's one of the earlier ones. So when you come to this stuff, I'm like, where are you really getting this shit from? Like but anyway, ask your question. But this is another reason why I say don't go political, because one of the reasons I like Clarence being here, because I think the majority of black men are on the same type of shit he's on. You're not going to deal with that politically. That's a waste of fucking time. That's why we need to fucking have these conversations in the first place to fix that problem. Otherwise, you're going to be wasting money. But go ahead, Clarence.
Yeah.
Well, what I'm saying is this: if you feel, if guys genuinely feel that
we don't feel, we think, but go ahead.
If they think that the system is genuinely that unbalanced, then wouldn't it make more sense for men to just not have kids, period, until the laws are changed?
Which is why 54% of your black men don't have kids, which is the widest gap amongst any other race. So much so that black women have to get bottom shelf Brads or bottom shelf Hernandez.
I got a quicker response. What you just described right there is the reason why MGTOW exists. Now, in another breath, I'm sure you will push back against MGTOW.
Right.
No, what I will say is this: MGTOW is a very small percentage.
54%.
Hold on. To that question that you asked, the correct answer for men is to go MGTOW. Your response to that would be like, come on, man, why would you go MGTOW?
Well, he's saying it's a small percentage.
What power do women really have? They don't really have no power. You don't got to go MGTOW. Like, what I'm saying is, if you believe they have the power, then you should do that.
Hold on, Clarence. 53 to 54% of black men don't have kids.
And
Here's
we're
what's
below
important about. Hold
replacement
on.
rate.
46% do.
Here's
Okay,
what.
and
Here,
wait.
hold on, real quick. Here's what's important about that. That's not gonna close. That gap is gonna get wider. Number one, and number two.
Not in this hookup culture we have. No, it's not.
No, dude.
It is, bro.
Every year, literally every year is having less kids. And you keep saying hookup culture. That's
We're
not with
below
every
replacement.
man.
We're
We
below
actually
replacement.
hold on, man. We about to have a video on how a lot of these millennials, there's a wider percentage of them that are virgins and ain't never. So the hookup culture is the women doing the same shit they've been doing, which is
Fucking the
dealing
same
with
men.
a small percentage of men, which reflects all of these niggas that having kids with one woman. Also, you keep saying it's a 46% due. You have no context to the stats because that is the widest gap any race has with their women and kids. That is abnormal, dude. That is not a good thing. So that 46%, 46%,
proving the point.
nigga, that's like me saying, like, well, 30, most dude people are in poverty. Like $30,000 is a lot of money. Well, to somebody never seen nothing more than that, that's kind of the same argument you're making. It's completely out of context.
Clarence, I think you
hold on real quick, and I'm gonna throw it back. I'm gonna throw it to you, compassionate. Forgot your name. I can't see.
Trying to be compassionate.
But to what you're saying, if you believe that, then why would you have kids? Most of the men who do believe that, they are actively not having kids or don't want to have any kids or don't want to get married. Now, if a dude does have that belief, but he's just condom off, willy-nilly slinging community semen, you got a guy in a contradiction right there. But if you got a guy who has that belief, like there's a lot of men in this space who have that belief, and they're like, nope, I'm taking a knee on that one. I'm not having any kids. It just is what it is. I will not have children. That's a tough decision for some men, but some men have decided and went that route that they're not going to have kids. So the thing that you're saying is men already doing it. I'm fortunately in a situation before, I'm fortunately, I don't want to say got my kids out the way, but I mean, I did get married young and I had my kids and went through divorce and a custody battle and I got custody of my kids. Hard fight. You know the story if you listen to my channel. And so I'm sort of out of that game. But if there is a man who's, let's say he's 30 years old and he does want to have kids and does want to have a family someday, it's just a simple 1 + 1 = 2 equation to say that he's at disadvantage if that relationship ends. Like that part shouldn't be argued or fought against. That's where I'm at. Go ahead, compassionate.
Yeah, and CJ or Clarence, your advice can't be just like pick perfect. Like that can't be with all the data we have. It sounds like you're not abreast on the facts. You are walking around with assumptions about black men's and our strategies and our responses to the realities of dating.
He's been in this space long enough, and nothing.
And I know I've seen him. Yeah,
you niggas need to start showing us. If y'all know so much, show us where these good black women. Cause that's another problem. A lot of these niggas want to deal with just black women. So you need to produce where they at.
He likes to think in his head
where they at.
That we're not seeing
all around you.
Black women.
Go outside.
I don't want to hear that shit.
He just said it.
Wait a minute. Okay, time out. Let's pump the brakes on that. It's good black women out there. They are. It's hard to find.
Thank you.
But they can't produce them.
I found a good one. I'm with a solid one. It ain't easy to find them, but
they out there.
That's my point.
They out there. They exist. That part is simple. But even then, I'm dealing with a solid one. We're not having no kids, but if we, there are situations if I did get married where she could potentially have me by the balls. If we did have kids, she could potentially have me by the balls and run me through the same stuff that I just finally climbed out of.
And the question is,
come on. So that's why I don't understand how a man could get in the way of men having conversations where they're enlightening other men on the situation, what they're up against, and everything. Like that part is bad. I do want to go to Pablo because I want to get out of here.
Just a little pushback. That's all. Just a little pushback.
Just to push back. Not
with
to
it.
push
Hold on.
back, just to push back. 1 + 1 is 3 because I want to push back that it's 2. Just
No, I
real
disagree,
quick.
but I genuinely disagree. But I'm just saying, you don't need to have an echo chamber all the time. It can be different opinions.
But okay, so 1 + 1 is 2. Oh shit, that's an echo chamber. Let's make it 3. Go ahead,
All right.
Pablo.
We're gonna.
So
I do. Hold on, real quick. Yeah, I want to go to Pablo and see what he got.
yeah,
Hold on, real quick before Pablo go. I do want to say this. Don't nobody respond to this. I just want to throw this out there. You see how men like Clarence come in here, sword and shield in hand and fight against us. You see how OGJ Speed was sword and shield in hand fighting against us. It's people who start whole channels in this space and they kind of flip and turn and or gradually roll out their agenda and all of that. We see all that happen in this space. Why don't we see that over on the other side? That they don't got they don't got their splinter cell women going over there infiltrating and then trying to undercut the mission or narrative and whatnot. Why they don't do that over there on the female side? Anyway, go ahead, Pablo.
all right. Well, I came to change the topic a little bit,
Go ahead.
and also keep it on topic. I'm going to tie it all in together. So, Clarence, do you like basketball? Do you watch basketball, Clarence?
Yeah, that's my favorite sport, actually.
Okay. So, Bernard, I wanted to talk about the Lakers, right? So, at the beginning of the season, the Lakers made these big trades and these moves, and they bought in Russell Westbrook.
Mm-hmm.
And it was speculated that, these moves that they made were orchestrated by LeBron. He wanted to bring in his guys, people that he wanted to play with. He wanted to bring in all these veteran players, right? Because he wanted to win now.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of people told him, "Hey, man, Russell Westbrook ain't the guy for you. He gonna turn the ball over. He gonna jack up a lot of shots. He gonna get his stats, and he don't really match your style of play." You remember that?
Oh yeah.
Right. So, but he went ahead and he got Russell Westbrook. Now, Clarence, they got Russell Westbrook, and it's a failure. It's an abject failure. He got let's flip genders for a second. Let's pretend LeBron was a one of the sisterhood, and she got the swagged out future wannabe rapper working on his mixtape, and she put him on the team. Right? It looked real, but then she got pregnant, and the season went on, and it was an abject failure. Or we can switch that and say it was a man, and he saw the pretty girl, and he got the pretty girl, and it was all working until it didn't work no more. Now there are no more free agents out on the market. The trading deadline has passed, and the team sucks. There are no more moves to be made, and there are no more available players to help his situation. What do you do?
At that point, you just gotta ride out with what you got.
Well, how come? Well, okay. Well, how come you can see it when I break it down to you in basketball, but when you see this in interpersonal relationships, you don't see it?
You say he should have picked. He should have known.
You
he
say
should
we
have
should
had a
have
better
picked
GM.
better. Right.
He should have been a better GM.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
He can't be a better GM. You gotta be. It's always hindsight is 20/20. Like that's not.
But he
advice.
just said go.
So
hold
is it LeBron's fault or is it Russell Westbrook's fault for not playing better?
Ultimately, it's LeBron and the GM's fault for bringing him in.
from taking the risk.
My
Essentially,
problem
I'm
with
lost. Real quick,
Clarence
Pablo. Who
is
did I
Clarence.
forgot? Who did the Lakers trade to get Westbrook? They know they
Um,
traded some young players. Who did they
well,
trade?
they let Caruso was a free agent, so rather than re-sign him, they let him go. But he was
What
their
about
best
Kuzma?
perimeter. Yeah, they
Oh
let
yeah, it was
Kuzma go
Kuzma, Josh. I
and
forgot his name.
Caruso. Yeah,
No, it was a Josh dude. It was a shooting
right.
guard. I forgot his name. I can't think of his name. But Kuzma, Josh.
Oh, they let what's his name go to
Oh, KCP. Oh, damn. Okay, somebody
yeah,
got it. Kuzma,
Yeah.
Latavius
KCP,
Caldwell Pope. And they did
and then
not
Montrezl
sign
Harrell.
Caruso.
Yeah,
Right.
Josh Hart is who I was trying to name. I thought they
Josh Hart.
traded Josh Hart.
My problem is if somebody believes in because this is what I don't like. I don't like the black manosphere. Number one is not an echo chamber. Number two, we do believe in personal accountability. Most of us are conservative in this space. And number three, I've never heard you say this when it comes to women. You do not believe in women being accountable to the actions that they control.
he
You try
doesn't.
to make a woman's
Hold on. Yes,
ability.
I
Hey,
do.
hold on. Women, no, you have yet to show me that you. And if you say it in a video, say it in the video and going up over there and telling them that it's two completely different things. So you can say it in a video, but you real comfortable telling us about that. When we're talking about laws. So again, women control who they women control when women controlling sexual access is not the same as who men choose to sleep with. Men fuck who they can. Women, for the most part, fuck who they want. And you want to act like, see, you're a feminist because you really believe in men or women are equal. You know good and goddamn well that a woman can open her legs up and get, for the most part, a lot of different dudes to deal with her. A man has to actually pursue sex. So that's a completely different dynamic. And for
All
you to
right.
equalize that dynamic
I don't
is
think men and
utter
women. I don't think
bullshit.
women. I don't think men and women are equal. I think men are above women and should lead women and
Yeah, but the
essentially
way
tell them
no
what
you
to do.
don't. No, you don't, because you
Whoa,
have a
then
perversion.
you
You
because you
have a
got it. You wouldn't
perversion
hold
of
on, hold
that
on, hold on.
mindset.
You wouldn't have such an adverse reaction to us talking about laws
Because
and
that's us
taking
leading.
and taking away some of their laws or liberties or freedoms and all of that. If you thought that we were
No.
really
That.
above them,
No, no,
But
you wouldn't
hold
have
on.
a problem with
But
that. You wouldn't you
no. His
if you
hold on. He
honestly
has
if you honestly believe that, you wouldn't push back against women losing power when it comes to those
But
situations.
Bernard,
what
this
I'm
is where
saying is
this
this though.
hold on, Bernard. This is where the gynocracy comes in, and where a lot of these when I say the gynocracy is not women, the way a lot of these dudes believe in men are above women is they really believe it in a slavish standpoint, where
The
men
protective.
deserve to take all the burdens of
Yep,
everything, and then the
Ah,
women don't have to be accountable for anything.
that's
So
exactly what it
therefore,
is.
all like, and the problem is black men don't control all of the authority levels. You want, it's almost like you're cool with black men not having authority over anything, but for some reason we're supposed to bear the burdens of everything, not having any kind of leverage or
I
control
get it.
over everything.
I
So
get it.
what you do
He
is
thinks men are above women in the sense that, women and children first on the ship.
yeah.
Man dive in front of that bullet to stop it from hitting the
Yep.
woman.
So
Men,
so
yeah, that's what he means
so
by
he
it, but
has this hyper
not from an
responsibility.
authoritative, not from
Yep,
an
he has this
authoritative
hyper.
standpoint.
Yep. So he has this hyper responsibility complex where
Yeah, like
he'll
a
make it like
bodyguard.
everything is always a woman is an adult. Like it's almost like he'll say, well, if a woman just walks up and spits on a dude, well, that's his problem for being in her proximity. Like it's almost on some crazy shit like that. Because at the end of the day, when you have sex with a woman reasonably understands that a man is not trying to put a baby in her. If she chooses to have the baby, that is her decision. And in my opinion, men shouldn't even have to pay child support. Because the reality is, if that's her decision, if she can abort the kid when I want the kid, you see what I'm saying? So we understand this, and this stuff will make it so we just have this endless conversation because you don't really have a logical pushback. You have an emotional one, which is why I'm
All right.
asking, why are you even in the space to begin with? What is the
To
value that you get out of it? That's a legitimate question in and of itself.
to
Hey Bernard, can I bring it home real quick on my last little point? my point in using that basketball reference was this: black women in America are Russell Westbrooks, but black men need more Alex Caruso's and KCP's, not more Russell Westbrooks.
I got real quick. Just address that quick point and a few
I'm
others.
sorry, Pablo. I know I'm normally good with basketball analogies. I'm struggling. I'm struggling.
Like real quick, like you just highlighted my point. You just said we have a lot of Russell Westbrooks, but to begin out, you said that they wanted to bring Russell in, even though people said it was a bad idea. So at the end of the day, it's their fault.
In a
That's what you said.
Yeah, but you it's
missed the
always
second part.
So hold on, bullshit.
You missed the second part.
Clarence, when is it the woman's fault? Give me any kind of scenario where it's the woman's fault. Any scenario in life, ever. I want to see if you're even capable of even reasoning that.
That's very simple. Everything that they do that they shouldn't do, that's their fault.
What?
What does that mean? I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means. Get specific. That's bullshit. Because that can't occupy the same space that you just was arguing against.
Give us a scenario, yeah. You
No, give it, you know. Now it's shit when the audio want to fuck up. What? Because your audio messed up. No, I want to hear this real quick, and then I'll hop off. Give me a scenario where a woman, yeah. No, your audio's messing up magically. Yeah, we can hear you now. Go ahead.
Okay. So
ran into a tunnel.
CJ, you're Borging bad, and I'm trying to get off of here. You in the back chat, so I know you can hear me. I do want to say thanks for coming up. I appreciate the pushback. One of my favorite panelists is OGJ Speed. I know y'all hate him. I like that he come up with the pushback. I don't mind it. So you know, there's no problem, no beef. I just dropped you down just because you was Borging bad, and I bring you back up, but I ain't even. We just put a pin in it. Take the link some other time, but I got to get up off of here. I got to get up off of here. But so thank you everybody who came through today. Everybody who super chatted. Demac the Truck, no, not Demac the Truck or D-Ruck. Then thank you for that $5 cash app. I do appreciate that. Appreciate everybody who supported the stream in any way, shape, or form. Yeah. No, damn it, I'm out of here. This one. Yeah, this probably go to Patreon. I'll probably put this on Patreon. I got to start back putting more stuff on Patreon. I was actually doing Patreon the right way, then I stopped. So I got to start back because my Patreon stopped growing. I got to try to get the Patreon popping. But all right, y'all, we out of here. Peace.